and influential than our organs of the party. The response to that, ladies and gentlemen, says, this is further evidence of the denial syndrome I've been referring to throughout this document. The issue of our affiliates is under the purview of the commissariat. The matter was comprehensively presented by the National Commissariat and no one challenged it, resulting in it being adopted by the Politburo. So how can the so-called criminals hijack a process that has been endorsed by the Politburo and is reported in the reports of the National Commissariat? The issue of affiliates is not a new invention of the Second Republic. I have it on record that as far back as 2008, the army created party affiliates. The army created party affiliates. The Zimbabwe National Army created party affiliates. The author of the document should desist from discouraging the program on the basis that it perpetuates a process which he does not subscribe to. The truth of the matter is that there is disdain and anger toward the organization, number one, by the author, which is apparent throughout the document. Paragraph 14. Comrade President, you recall I brought to your attention the Treasoners Project, which has been penned by Jonathan Moyo for our parliament to implement the so-called Breaking Barriers Initiative, which is seeking to change our political system and suspend elections to 2035. Not only is this project treasonous and a huge scandal, and it's being done and championed by people like Jonathan Moyo, who we fired from the party, this Breaking Barriers Initiative has also never been discussed and approved at the party's last Congress, nor has it ever been discussed and approved by the Central Committee. We are now watching in shock and disbelief as this project is now being covertly implemented and being funded by these criminals. Tagwirei, Chivhayo, Scott Sakupanya, Delison Guaya, and their associates. So the response to that, ladies and gentlemen, says this is very strange. It exposes a lot of covert shenanigans. It is surprising how the writer got hold of the Building Bridges Initiative document. If it was meant for Parliament, this tendency of stalking officials who are carrying out their duties is regrettable. There's nothing treasonous about improving political system. This BBI, which is being referred to, is not strange to us, and it's actually promoting nation building and cohesion as compared to the author's divisive and insightful document. The BBI is an opposition document which was initially brought to my attention by the leader of the okay. I'll take it right from the top. I want you to listen, and I want you to listen good. The BBI is an opposition document which was initially brought to my attention by the leader of the opposition in parliament, Sengezo Chabango, in the company of General Kumalo from the vice president's office. As a party, we should appreciate the relationship with the opposition, which has been beneficial to us. There's no proof whatsoever that the BBI project is being funded by the named individuals. It appears the author is more seized with it and would have assisted us by unpacking it further. Chabangu, Chabangu, enter the fray. But paragraph 15 says, Comrade President, tiri kuti vanhu ava kuda kwase Tagwirei Chivhayo, Scott Sakupanya, Delison Guaya, and their associates ngavasungwe immediately for these unprecedented crimes they have committed. And the response says, again, this is another emotional outburst from someone who is in denial of the 2030 resolution. As I alluded to earlier, there are constitutionally established institutions in terms of our constitution that are mandated to deal with such issues. The doctrine of separation of powers, the principle of segregation of duties, and the imperative to prevent abuse of power and authority are fundamental safeguards designed to protect citizens from the overreach of those in positions of leadership. Paragraph 16. Tingarambe takatarisa vanhu vachibira more than US 3.2 billion in cash from our state coffers while our people are suffering out there. Even Millennial is now running out because of maize shortages. While we are prioritizing paying these criminals, our hospitals are running out of critical medicines And now the same people who are stealing our assets and resources are now using these resources to hijack power, corrupt our structures, and destroy our party. So the response says, I have already stated that one would assume that due process is given for the author's level. On what basis would the president order the arrest of citizens without following due process? This is a manifestation of the denial I have already alluded to. It is not denied that the individuals now referred to as criminals have been funding the party for the past 20 years. Surprisingly, they've become criminals all of a sudden. It should be noted that whenever the party receives funding from donors, the donors do not dictate how the funds are to be utilized. The allocation of these resources remains the sole prerogative of the party, guided by its priorities and areas of need. Contrary to this assertion, currently there are no meal shortages and the government is addressing the hospital issue. However, the former Minister of Health and Childcare must clarify the deterioration in the health sector rather than deflecting blame. The assertion that these resources are being used to hijack power, corrupt our structures, and destroy our party is unfounded and must be rejected with the contempt it deserves. Paragraph 17 says the issue is, Communist President, the time for silence and inaction is over, and we cannot allow these criminals who have stolen from our government coffers and our party to start using the same resources to bribe fellow comrades and our structures to get their support, defend, and protect them. And there's paragraph 18 again. It says these criminals are not just enriching themselves, they are using their stolen wealth to capture our party, manipulate state institutions, and compromise key officials. They are creating a parallel power structure funded by the very state they are find our future, and we must immediately prioritize cleaning our house, reclaim our state and our party from the capture by Kudakwashe, Tagwirei, Chivhayo, and Ngwaya and their associates. We need to reaffirm the sacred principles of the revolution and our legacy. The future of our nation and the faith of our people depend on the decisive actions we take now. So they've taken paragraph 17, 18, and 19, and they've responded as follows. The contents of paragraph 17, 18, and 19 are regurgitation of the information consistently presented throughout the document. These utterances are insightful, and this strong appetite to bring us back to, November 27 should be nipped in the bud, and any such ambition should be crushed. Any attempt to destabilize or subvert a constitutionally elected government is treasonous. And in conclusion, in light of the foregoing, the document is fundamentally flawed and its averments lack merit. It is my considered opinion that the document should be disregarded due to its material shortcomings and lack of appreciation of party procedures in the national constitution. At its core, the document advocates for the unlawful removal of a constitutionally elected president, which is palpably treasonous. The document not only undermines the president, but also the economy and the individuals who work hard to support the president. One wonders whether the placement under sanctions of some of these individuals was not a result of such reckless utterances. Such reckless utterances have cost our economy, His Excellency's goodwill in the international fora, and individuals who have been unduly placed under sanctions, and in the end, no investor would want to invest in our country. What is equally troubling is how such a document found its way into the hands of hostile media houses across the country. The circumstances under which the author obtained access to the documents, now in the public domain, remain highly questionable and amount to a violation of the Official Secrets Act. The presentation bears a striking resemblance to the narratives perpetuated by Geza, Western media, and all our detractors bent on undermining our sovereignty and constitutional order. Whilst the author castigates certain individuals, he has never castigated Geza, a rebel who was expelled from the party and is bent on inciting chaos in the country. The party remains committed to fostering an environment where constructive criticism and dissenting views are valued, but such views must be presented in a manner that is respectful, factually inaccurate, and in good faith. The author of the document does not understand the tenets of democracy and the difference between civilian and military conduct, which prompts a reorientation course at the Chitepo School of Ideology for the whole Politburo and Central Committee on the supremacy of the party and the basic tenets of democracy. The document's intention is suspect, and its allegations are baseless and devoid of evidence. We are compelled to re-emphasize that any attempt to stage a coup, whether through treacherous acts, misrepresentation of facts, violation of others' privacy, incitement of violence and despondence, or willful blindness to positive development is a grave offense that undermines the stability and unity of our nation and should be liable to immediate censure. The end. Woo! Pagaita. Nakona iri kuverenga naye mofu. Aya, yeah. Yeah, bagaipa. Right, kana mjango bata, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming through ndurukurwara vanhu vaMwari. Zvaita here mofu.
Madede Murawena. Hey, that was a long passage, but thank you so much. Manyaso Dede Muranemo Tato Inzwisi ipo panapa.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there was a lot of legal jargon there. I know possibly Panivanyasonzwisavo legal, but I think Zambi there, it's kind of, to me, it sounded a political warning, uncle. Definitely a kind of a warning, it's all wrapped up under this constitutionalism, but underneath it, it's definitely trying now to say, how can to put it like a counter coup. You know what? Now constitution speaks louder than any gun or anything. Basically, that was, but there are some points there that any normal person can just say, are you trying to rewrite history? Because Tesa Tagawana Matanks in 2017. Tesa, we all see that. So you can't say Operation Restore Ligas was a civilian movement when we all saw that. So I think there are some things that he's just blatantly saying that any normal person will say no. When they were trying to remove Mugabe, Takanyatso Nama soldier in the streets, Tagawana tanks, yeah. And now at this time you can't turn a coup into that was people's march because it's inconvenient. So you bring that. So definitely that I can can poach back at him to say no, you can't be saying that. But and also the defense of these the so-called described by Chiwenga as Rigananda, there's so much defense of the businessmen and Tagwirei and Chivhayo and Asakupkwanya, calling them loyal donors as well. But is that not then responding to Chiwenga when he talks of state capture? Is he not admitting it in a way? Because the way he goes on about it, I think there's a lot of throwing that word Ramataura reku treasonous reku I don't know, can he really be doing that to the vice president? That was an internal ZANU-PF debate, should because he's raised those points, then you call that there's a treason. I think Rataurwa Wediroro Martaura one day. I thought that was genuine internal debate within their structures. Musaga, why? So I think there's a lot of exposure, even though he's got his points that he's driving home. I think it exposes a little bit as well on ikoko ZANU-PF. Even nyaya yamataura ekupedzisira yekuti I think anzi yakaenda the document leaked into hostile media. Why are you talking about? Because the problem there, the challenge is not the media, isn't it? It's not the journalists, but it's the leaks inside the ZANU-PF that definitely you can tell there's some factional cracks there, definitely, and they are now all public. They are playing out in the public gallery. So yeah, the center is definitely not holding uncle. But yeah, it was packed. It was packed, but there's a lot of defense. There's a lot of talking about constitutionalism. But it's quite difficult because now they're trying to use that rule book, and they are trying to throw the rule book of constitution and throwing it back in, but that same constitution was violated in 2017, and now it's convenient to use it back when they want to. So there's a lot of things to unpack there, uncle.
Yeah, Bagaiba, there's a lot, to unpack. And so, this is why I was wondering, Kuti, are we now back here? Are we about to see a repeat of, because, this is coming at a time, this PF, conference, and
Right.
Kuti, Nyama resolutions, they are big. Saka, are we about to see a resolution going to be passed to Congress?
Right.
Yeah, removal of Vice President Chiwenga as the second secretary of ZANU-PF and ultimately as the vice president of the country. I think what is going to be coming out today is going to be interesting. Kubva ku Central Committee meeting yavo, and then what also going to be interesting is, and people are saying, they can't hear me.
No, we lost you for 10 seconds, but you came back.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
No,
I texted you.
yeah, I think. So I think pananji verenga payambeka pane munhu I think aedza kundifonera, saka
Yeah.
musaka paita ndikakurasa network ipapo, right? Saka I mean, as I am saying, because if you look at how things escalated by 2017, you find Kuti, the way things moved with the speed of lightning, you'd want to think, Kuti, is it the same that they would do this time around? Because if you look at how Ziambi is responded to that letter, it was actually hard hitting.
Absolutely, very hard hitting.
And basically he has accused the author with the vice president of harboring Ningrikini. And is breaking. What I think, let me do this.
For me,
Right.
it's clear.
But let me refresh the page.
Yeah, definitely. I think if there's anything coming, we can learn lessons from 2017. So if there's anything, they can announce any shift in Chiwenga's portfolio, or they can reassign him, in a different way. But these sudden accusations that they're coming on, I mean, it's a telltale signs, definitely. And I think some things that we can watch out is they can leak stuff to the media. I think they can do some media campaigns, disguised as just information coming from the media. But definitely what they can do is leak information to the media. But it will all be just rallied basically to say, how can they drop him. So, and even you can either, we've seen my reshuffles. There have been so many reshuffles that we have seen from President ED. Any little thing that we see, he just senses something. We see a reshuffle. We see Obenbov is taken off. We see, Chiwenga's, all those people that are aligned and close to him. So for me, the telltale signs have been there. And I think there will be some heavy attempts to try and isolate him. Whether, I don't know how that's going to work. but they will try to isolate him from any, big party decisions or any, just to show my politburo kwavo kwavanoita ikoko kwavanogara, just to show kuti, what, this guy is a goner. But it will be interesting space to watch. Isusu vamwe hatizive zvedu, isu hatizi muzanu PF imomo, but at the same time, you can't help but just wonder to say, is history repeating itself? Are we going to see that? But we've never seen that before. We've seen ED going to South Africa, running at the time and coming back, but that was with the help of Chiwenga back then, So now what is this happening? So interesting, guys. I see. I'll try to bring people up that are requesting so that we can, right. It is an interesting, the watch the space. It's definitely watch the space, because this, right. Okay. Right. Let me start with you, Mofpada.
Greetings from Zimbabwe. Tanga titoripo paHQ tichiona zvichiitika, mamiracles ari kuitika kuno kwakaoma wakomana. Kana paine munhu anofunga kuti achabvita ZANU-PF, mhino mukaupike doro. Yeah, but Uncle Jet, for the last 7 years, I've been telling you about this. In terms of this game, you cannot let anyone tell your story, against your own party members. Kana opposite kwenye munombozvitaura kuti wendati zvakati bo mapenga. But what do you think? I'm just judging from this document. Whoever did this document, do they think really they're doing a favor to the person that they're writing for? No, it's political suicide. We said it before, and we said it is, whoever is there, even cannot crazy stuff about your boss. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I think out of all this, it's a regrettable position, and I said it. That paperwork when it came out, it was very sad day actually for me. It was a very sad day, very very sad day, and you can hear from the response that it is actually a sad day for those that love politics and want the best for their party or want the best for people. Just from reading that, it saddens me to listen to that to the reply, and it also even pained me worse reading that as it was, because it is flawed. It's flawed in itself. That document is flawed and very decisive, very, incisive, very, you can call it whatever you want to call it. Whoever wrote that, in the intentions, it was buying into the narrative of the Gezas and everybody else, the narrative of the opposition, the narrative of the Americans and the West, in terms of corruption and all this and all that. Remember what I've always said, which is the word Gananga is a very, very, very weaponized word, and it should not be used in any way, shape, or form. Lennon, we can meet for lunch. I'm in Zimbabwe. Totaura tomboonana kuti uri kupi tisinganetsane panapa. But no matter how someone comes and try to uh, minimize the damage this document has done to someone's career, uh, is joking, really. It's joking. No matter what you try to do, no matter how you try to spin it, no matter how you try to say it, if I was in any position, I would not write such a document,
Yes.
in regards to my boss or those that I'm serving with. Many thanks.
Right. Okay, before Ango comes in, but Padare, I hear what you are saying, right? But yes, it was risky. I do understand that. But the politics at this level that we are talking of is never safe, right? I don't think you confront a sitting president, by accident, right? You do it when you've calculated, kuti, maybe kunyarara kwanguka itori more greater danger, because the party is being infiltrated by so-called mafias and it. So I think the letter was actually a signal somehow. It tried to declare that, the military wing actually could, they still exist. They still have teeth, and I mean, they are refusing to be silenced, isn't it? So I think Ziambi's response for me is actually proves that point. It shows deeply that the letter shook the establishment. So I don't think, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I don't think it's a
Yeah.
suicide, because
But his response, I hear what you're saying, but his response is actually literally thrown away the issues of corruption and what people maybe they never understood and heard about people like Dr. Tagwirei and how they was involved with the mission. And one thing that has always been said in all this is a consistency of saying this 2017 was a people's mission, and that's why it was never a coup. And for those that really want to keep to that moment of coolness and everything else, it's a shame because you're in denial, especially now hearing all the facts that what was written in there, whoever wrote there, which is the fuel, where it came from, the support, where it has come from, who was there involved, and Achamisa were involved. So, and Morgan Tsvangirai were involved. So no matter how much you want to try and put it doesn't make
right,
anyway. This thing 2017 is done deal. It will never be repeated. Let me tell you,
right,
2017 will never be repeated. And on the 17th, I'll be tweeting from Mutare, and I'll be telling you that there's nothing in Harare. No one, there will be absolutely no one
but
going
you
to
won't be in
protest.
Harare though.
Well, you're not listening to me. I will
I
tell
am. You
you
said
that,
you'll be in
yeah,
Mutare, but
I'll be in
nothing happening
Mutare,
in Harare.
but I'll be
But
going back.
Exactly,
I'll
Titus.
be
Well
okay,
done,
okay,
Titus.
it's okay. I'll be going back to Harare on this very same day, and I will let you know that I've traveled to Harare. There's no roadblock to say Harare is closed because they've taken over. Many thanks.
right, yeah, no, no, thanks, but
Can I respond, please?
yeah, in a minute.
Right.
I will let you respond. I just think the 9-page, counter attack, that letter from Zambia was long. I think, yeah, I think, I don't know if we can call that political suicide. For me, I think it was necessary, and the battle lines, I think, have been drawn, although they already existed. But anyway, got to find it
And
from
in game over, I just want to establish good is when in the Africans we get it.
absolutely clear.
Ukuzwa it's mkwasho right here.
Eh, zvirizei son.
Apa Harare pari kutofaya zvekutodaro zvisingaiti.
Inini maonero anoita tsamba yakumane.
Hmm.
It's basically telling Chiwenga Kudizo we are going ahead with whatever it is that we want to do, and there's nothing that you can do to stop it. The resolution stands, and extending this stands the involvement of the opposition with the control to facilitate, whatever is we witnessed at Prika Farm. It was not a joke when Chabangu said kana muchiita zvikuitwa zvinoita kuti izvo nyika iendere mberi nesuwo we are with you. That was an indication yekuti they are in support of everything that was or that was being planned, or that is going to happen.
Hmm.
And they've also, I think, in some ways, they've done it to poke holes into General Chiwenga in terms of his leadership credentials. Kuti munhu asina leadership qualities, kana munhu asinga understand processes political party make, angaite leader. Saka I'm sensing kuti there's that issue element yekumita discredit. I'm sensing there's this element yekuti uyamuudza point blank kuti izvo we are going to go ahead. Because everything that we have said, or everything that we've discussed on this thing platform,
Hmm.
nothing was refuted.
Correct.
Everything is just waiting for my processes yet. Kungotangodai. But what I then feel, if they don't want to cause more commotion, or continue with the back and forth, they might want to continue accommodating him,
Mm-hmm.
but I won't be surprised if a resolution, comes out of that, conference to say Gutizo, he must be charged, he must be removed and charged, with treason.
That's
Yeah, that is what I'm feeling. That is what I'm thinking, when I'm looking, at this. Of course, it's something, that I just read when I
they
was reading.
won't Yamashish.
Yeah, no, I'm saying if they want to stop this thing in its tracks, Kutizo Chisas will develop into something else.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one wanangoti kana kuti vanogona kutotumira ma-emissaries pachezvavo ivavo kuti vangotaurirana vangoita kunenge cool things down. But the language, but the language in there, but the language in there, haisi language yekuregererana ye.
No, it's very confrontational. It's yeah, definitely.
Anyway,
it's a declaration more than anything else.
Nyamashisha
anyway,
muvhunze padare atore mapicture tinoda umbo kwete zvongotaura zvomhepo auye mapicture tione paanenge akagara.
But I don't know all right. But anyway, guys, I'm hopeful. Right, pane faster.
That's fine.
Yeah,
fine.
but I'm still here.
Natumira video niri pa HQ1 ana uiona enda kutaimira yangu wana muendas
Anyway.
nayakuma
All right, Zvara. Inimi chimboita ending Zimbabwe.
Right. So I think, guys, let's right. I want to give Mike Tinsgo my guys. Let's try to be direct with our comments. And that's tendera. Let's try to be direct. Let's try to be firm, professional, and also maybe if you can touch what you think will be Chiwenga's approach from now or respond. Is he going to do like a silent treatment, like a wait and strike? Because maybe reacting now would play into Ed's hands, or he actually maybe react somehow, or maybe I don't know. Right. So let's go with the guys on the right. Smartest, you've got your hand up. Let's start with you.
Thank you so much. Rikantanga Mborowa slogan. Pasi nezanu PF. Pasi nezanu PF. Then the second point that I wanted to mention, Titus, is I am a staunch supporter for Manchester United. I love Old Trafford so much. I understand the environment at the Old Trafford is just something else. But I don't enjoy watching Manchester United playing at the ground itself, like even at our home ground. I don't, because when I go there, if I miss something, there is no advantage of a replay. I know they've tried to introduce some screens and all that for you to capture that. But the good thing about watching football matches, right, it's because it's the fact that you take advantage of technology, you take advantage of analysis, you take advantage of different camera angles, right? That's one thing about watching from the comfort of our homes. So the same applies to what's happening in Zimbabwe. There's nothing special about someone being in Zimbabwe, because the only problem with that is if you happen to be Mutare, just like what you rightfully pointed out, my brother, you are in Mutare, you don't know what's happening in Harare, right? One, because your phone might run out of battery, network will be a problem due to congestion. They may try to take some mobile towers, but it's a fact that network will be a problem. So there's nothing, guys, to come up to a space here and want to sound as if you are a kid, right? Right. So moving on to what is happening in boxing, ango vachiripo here, because ndada kuresponda futi kuna ango zvavangachitaura. Ango patinodzidza boxing pana anonzi mafans, right? Ungati tishandisei chekwedu kumusha kusikiza, right? Where you are trying to get a reaction from your opponent. Sa unosikiza kudai so uda kuona kuti are you going to flinch? Are you going to react? Then the next time paurifungidzira kuti ndiri kusikiza chibhakera chiri kuuya, right? And when you look at ZANU PF, as I was listening to Ango, I listened to that letter, and to me, it's coming from someone who is shaken. Because when you look at Mnangagwa, right? Look at Mnangagwa and his attributes. And one of his, I know he has got limited strengths, but one of his limited strength is silence. Silence to the point that you don't know what is he planning, what's going through his mind, like his thought process. Right? So you will do something, you will look at you, he doesn't comment. And there's a problem now when you're dealing with someone like that. But you try to bring in some jibes, some low blows, try to look for a reaction. That reaction is not coming. But we're not seeing that now, right? Which again supports your point, Titus, to say, hey, the sender cannot hold, right? If you, I remember this novel that we read, right? The falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart, right? Things are falling apart. That's why I started my presentation. Ndichirova zvangu rali, ndichirova zvangu, inonzi ndichirova zvangu yeZANU-PF yekuti
Slogan.
slogan, yes, slogan yekuti pasi neZANU-PF. I'm seeing Mnangagwa's camp, which is in panic, which is exposing itself in terms of the tactics. They don't know how to handle General Chiwenga, right? They don't know how to handle. So now they are sending Ziyambi, but who is Ziyambi? Yes, you may look at him as the secretary of what and what, but this fight is between Mnangagwa and Chiwenga, who is a decorated soldier. You can never take away that from him. If you look at when he joined the Zanda forces up to the point of being at the helm of the forces in Zimbabwe, you cannot then try to discredit him through some 7-page letter or a 5-page letter. You can't do that because the attributes are there, these achievements are there, right, for everyone to see. And unfortunately, 2017, you cannot go back and try to rewrite it. It's there on his resume, right? Chiwenga to say he managed to lead Zimbabwe into some sort of a transition. I think we can debate it was a coup, it was not a coup. We know that it was a coup. And we know that a coup begets a coup. And that's exactly what we are seeing. But they don't know how to deal with Chiwenga right now. Just looking at the tone that's being used, because they're exposing themselves. They're saying, hey, you should go to Chitepo, School of Ideology. They are telling us who is funding ZANU-PF, right? In their bid to try to discredit Chiwenga, look what they are doing now. They are telling us something that we have always suspected, right? Say, Jesus Gananda, they captured not only the state, they captured not only ZANU-PF, but they have captured the state itself. In that letter, right? If you look at that letter, they're telling us that ZANU-PF has been bankrolled by Queen Bee, right? They get millions of dollars. They get fuel from these guys. The guys, the same Whitney Chivhayos, they are the guys Varukunza Mota, Varukupa ZANU-PF. Varukupa ZANU-PF Mari and all that. All this they are trying to do. And I feel General Chiwenga somehow is vindicated. Then the last point that I wanted to mention, Titus, is ZANU-PF is also known, guys, for they will set the exam, set the questions out there, right? Leak the exam, then come back and want to sound smart and brilliant when they answer the questions. Fully knowing that they are the ones, who set the questions, who set the exam, right? So when you read that letter, right, it could be coming from ZANU-PF. The same channel, the same Ziyambi. I mean, the first letter. That I will not be surprised. Tsamba yakatanga kunyorwa yakabva kuZANU. And now we have ZANU-PF coming back now to respond to that letter just because they want to expose General Chiwenga and they want to pass some resolutions at their Congress or at their conference in entire. That's ZANU-PF for you. So vanokutsvagira reason. Zvakangofana nemahwindi kuti wabatwa nekuti waabuse our sisters or our female colleagues wopa uda kutanga pareason yekuti anga akapfeka mini. So ndizanu-PF vari kupfekedza mini, right? So that they feel could they are justified, one, for the attacks, two, for whatever resolutions that they want to pass.
Right. Thank you very much for that, Smarters. Hans Zanpef, you're not going to set exam, your mark, I already are back. Right. Thank you for that. Let me move on to Lieutenant General Chris Cheats.
Yeah, thank you. I only have a brief thing to say.
Chris and left. Oh, you are left. Okay. All right. It's you, Chris, anyway. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I only have one thing to say. Because the rest have been said by smarters, and you know. My point is only it depends on what Valerius Vanda will do or will lean to. I think in the whole conversation that we are having on what Smarters has just said, let us bear in mind to say to find out where he stands, because where he stands matters. Where he stands matters in terms of looking from 2017, what happened, the role that General Chiwenga did, and also bearing in mind that his tenure was extended similarly to the extension that Mugabe did to Chiwenga. So all like the sort of generals at that time were on the mercy of Mugabe. They were like on the renewal of contracts where their sort of constitutional tenure had ended. But somehow Mugabe was generous to them and gave them an extension that led to his downfall. So in our conversation, let us also piece together on where he stands. He's mainly focusing on his weaknesses, his strength, and his posture, and all the rest of it. That will help us, see where this all is going to and is leading to. Thank you.
Right. I'm moderators. A development that has come out is Tagwirei is now been confirmed as a central committee member of ZANU-PF.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Let us factor that in the conversation.
Wow.
Yato replacement.
Quite interesting. Right. Okay. Now let's move on to let's go to TC Pudding.
Hello, uncle.
Hello. Please go ahead.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Fantastic. But inini ndinotaura naangu. Angu muri kundinzwa here because handisina kuti mundirarire izvi.
Urataura neni kuti taura kutopiku.
Ndiri kutaura kutopiki.
Aiwa, kwenini ndingapinda vanhu.
Ipipi ndimi matanga topic. Uncle, last time handizivi kuti ndakazotaura nemi here kana kuti ndakataura paspace that was different. But I think I'm pretty sure, I'm very certain I tried to warn you about that dossier. DPO confirmation. Did you say
To warn me about what?
no, DPO confirmation.
No,
Did
I
you
don't
say
remember. To warn me,
Okay.
Gudichi.
No, I think I tried to warn you about the source of the dossier. I think I did because I remember Pamayi Renga and I was questioning dossier rabva kupi. Kuti ribve mumaoko president. Wapiwa na VP. Orobva rasvika paX. X ndokwarabva kupolity bureau ndopakatanga nyaya ndiri dossier yakabudira. And then now are you saying kuti you are being accused of being the author of the document? Did I hear that correctly?
Ndandikaudzwa kanhingi naJoja Ramba achindituka kuti uri dununu ndiwe wanyora document iro.
Ayo, but
Zvakangurutaurawo
does it matter
nemwe.
kuti rabva kupi?
No, I'm trying to find out kuti arikubva nekupi achina nekupi. Because
Yeah, no, I understand.
because from what we can gather here, this document, the author document, arikutaura one. When this document was authored by the general, he took ownership of that document. He is the owner of that document. And whatever it is, that he did, him, is that document is saying, could he somehow that document was made to make its way into the public domain.
Okay. No,
Saka,
it's all
saka,
good.
saka, saka, I'm
That's
not
which is
sure
away.
what
Yeah, yeah.
you're
I
warning
no,
me, your cheese,
no, 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 no,
because
no.
I'm not
I know.
understanding.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I get you now. I completely get you. Nangandeta misunderstanding because when you said Kuti, you're being accused of being written the document, ndafunga Kuti that was part of the document. Does that make sense? Kuti Kondo Saka pese pamanga when you're reading Kuti the author, you thought the author it was referring to you. Being dopandeta misunderstanding. Names were come out easy.
Right, we can hear you, Tisi. So do you want to submit to the
No, 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 no. I don't. I like it.
Okay.
Like no. I had there was a complete misunderstanding. Now I get Kuti, the author that was being referred to, Uncle Jesper Chiwenga, versus when he said Kuti. Now I'm being accused as the author. Those were two different.
Okay.
Like yeah.
I'm
Nyanza
glad we are
Kasena,
on,
so
I'm glad we are on the same.
thank you very much.
All right, let's move on swiftly. Two boy Moff, what is that?
Mwenda zvisese
Bo. Samba guys.
yasvika uza zvakanakira tsamba
pana mwenda zowane ndimhofa.
asi tirana mwenda mberi wangu tisu vashana matanga kumwa uza zvakanakira tsamba wangu tsamba inosvika zvinyoronyoro ende yakapfava ndopanodira tsamba ndosaka kanzi tsitsi inosvika zvakapfava but zvanaka izvinezvi tauda kuonawo kuti zvinofamba sei but paitika ugwara wangu ZANU-PF yakazara magwara. Why do you have to write to respond with a letter kuna Chiwenga? Iye Chiwenga wacho vanenge vatoziva paakagara. Ende humwe ugwara hwekuti ini ndakagara semurumu naSmarters then ndosvika pakumuforera Smarters wanda ndakagara naye musame room. Takamirira achaverenga tsamba ndiwo takamirira ndinasiya kuna Kaya Moyo. Kana zvakusvika ikoko zoti achanaka izvinezvi. Right now hapasina retain apa. Kwatosvika kunonyudza. Nokuti ED kana achizviti ane that ane imwe inenge bravado but inenge foolishness so yainayo. ED ndafunga kuti ndiye akaapointa anzanoyi Chiwenga. Call him to the office. Uya kuoffice titaure izvi. But akudzokera masitira yamugaba yaya yekuti vaibva naMnangagwa, vaibva naye muHarare, votombopotera kuBulawayo, vobva naye kuti Bulawayo, vodzokera naye kuti muHarare, votombopotera kunze kuBhindura. Come on guys, ZANU makaita sei kuZANU guys? Naitsana inini ndikati ndabva nemukadzi wangu panapa ndombopotera kumba kwenyu ndodzoka naye kuti kunoku ndosina naye kwana Mwendasi. Haine zvazvanaka maidi. Ameyo kuti Friday inosvikika here. Friday kunogona kuita kure. Friday kunogona kuita kure kwatorebesa. And I wanted to address, please allow me to address Rapa Chimofu. Mofu, kuve kwenyu kuZimbabwe, it's of no importance right now. Amuse ball player ikoko, amuna bhora ramundombotamba ikoko. So kuzozvisendera mavidhiyo, mapicture, they are of no significant wangu hana basa. Nokuti hamuna bhora ramunopusha ikoko. Bhora rikupushwa naChiwenga. Takuda kuona oza yeZANU-PF Youth League yakaita yaimba ana Chipanga. Vachiimbira anhu kuti uyaitisane kumapena. Mofu enda ikoko munogara katebhu mudaidza Youth League. motanga kumboimba muchimbira general kuti ngazviuye tione takazvigadzirira toziva kuti yes pane side dzamakabata pane side nemakamera nemavidhio guys mavidhio togona kuawana any minute kumusha but allow me to say this Saro, please makaona madzokerero akaita Grace Mugaba achiagana namakumbi
Matanga bofu.
hazvina chirevo here Grace Mugaba ari musaidi kupi guys ndopatada kuziva apa etoda kuziva kuti Jones akadzoka here muzanu pf nokuti document rakavamwa kuti ndiJones ari kurinyora here
aiwa hazvirambweka mozvatiko why inenge zvisingarambwe.
yes
did you ever notice kuti pese paitika chabangu macourt cases ake zvese everything zvese Johnson will be the first to give us an opinion piece or whatever ninge zvaibuda ninge nekuna Johnson saka kuti Johnson is the author wedocument iri riri kutaurwa iri big boobs yechakuti document iri or BBL document rauri kutaura hazviamisi kuti Johnson ndiye akarinyora because kana iye ari kuti document rakabva ninge nekuna Sengezo Chabangu is closer kuna Johnson.
koma Tafinya munomisa papi baba
upi
wikineo
aiwa anonyore chikoyo
but ingaribotirasa matsitsa aenda kukenya kuti mangani
aiwa inini ndikutaura nepakunyora
haasi part of the game here nekuti
anogona kunge akari part of the game but I'm saying kuti izvo pakunyora madocuments akaita seiwo ayi Johnson is the author.
aiwa zvanaka ndoyataite kumusha
and we now know why Chabangu exists.
Oh yes aiwa Friday inogona kuita kure guys ngarigore takagadzirira alright I'll hand over to my guys. Thank you so much.
Right, thanks Mofo for that. Mkoma Lennon Mambo dropper. Can I give you the mic in case you drop again?
Thank you. I was on a corner, Comrade Geza, so Ndangana Budona. Yeah, thank you, Mof Titus. This document is quite revealing of a lot of things. First, for years, people have speculated on the tension that has been existing between number one and number two. But it appears that battle lines are being drawn and are being drawn clearly. And people's true colors are now coming out. There is so much misinformation. There is so much speculation that is being disguised as legal positions. And we now know that there's somebody who has been protecting Shigananda. Quite clear now. Then number two, we are now very clear that there's a denial of what factually transpired in 2017 and what inspired the Operation Restore Legacy. From this response, which I am reading, the first page denies the basis. We were told that there were criminals who were surrounding the then former President Mugabe. And that is what transpired, or that is what inspired, rather, Operation Restore Legacy. But these people were never put to test as what they are now alleging, it's as though history is repeating itself. Number two alleges that they are criminals whom he is referring to as Gananda, who are surrounding the president. We know in 2017, Lacoste had the same allegations that there were individuals tagged criminals who were surrounding former President Mugabe. In a formal court of law. And what the author of this response is also saying is that without putting Chivhayo, Kubakwashe, and these guys to a strict legal test, they cannot be tagged as criminals. So what we are simply saying is, I would think a right-thinking person who has got good intentions would order an investigation and an arrest, and a formal court of law then takes its rightful course without any undue influence or undue interferences from third parties. If Chiwenga has presented a dossier which creates a prima facie case, the same Criminal Law and Codification Act that they are referring to provides that if there is basis of suspecting any criminal activity, those people must be arrested, or an investigation must first be done. These people then be put to a strict test, and a court of law then makes a ruling on whether there is something factual that is to be sustained. So I want to say first, the second page that refers to allegations which were presented in the dossier by number two. If there was genuine political will to curb corruption, as alleged in the first dossier that was presented by number two, just to order an arrest, let a formal court of law take its course. But when you then deny to give due process an opportunity to really test these people formally, then that for me is tantamount to undue protection of certain individuals. An allegation has been put that there is corruption, and purportedly there is prima facie evidence that was presented. So why then do you protect these persons without really allowing due process to take its course? So for me, that's a basic misunderstanding of due should be done. There is another issue which comes out, resolution number 1. We all know the position of the Constitution. Ordinarily, the Constitution should be the supreme law of the land. If the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, it's very clear in section 328, subsection 7, and section 91 that term limits are for 5 years, and you can only have 2 term limits as a president. So I'm trying to say there is a misappropriation of the Constitution.
Vadonaka, that was.
Unfortunately, we've lost Koma Lennon Ruse. Please, if you don't know if you're still on the space, if you are, please request again. Right, okay. Can I move on to Mwendas, please?
Oh, thank you, Mof. Nyama samuri say. I am winning in matters. I need to go Moresa or Kuruke. To come at Mofu, two boy. My sister Zim Justice, Hope, Magnetos, Tembiso, Yamashisha, and everybody who's listening. I need. Hi, Steve. Hey, happy. Inini. Pale nyaenda kokwira pala pa Mof status. Makamboona kuti murume ukaita chipfambi ukabatwa nemukadzi wako kuti waita chipfambi and then mukadzi wako ubva kutaura kuti haiwa ini ndoda kungoitawo ka1 chete zvoita square unozwa murume akuridza mhere ndozvaakuita Mnangagwa vakutaura nesu vakapinda nekuu ivo vakutyawo manje kuitirwa kuu so I think we have discussed before kuti munhu ukapinda nekuu unozobudiswa nekuu. So, what it says is ZANU-PF, it has actually shown itself to be corrupt, that respond by Ziyambi. What Chiwenga is saying there's corruption, and he's arguing that why are you saying he's talking about it in public? I mean, there's a government, there must be transparent, and this is the right thing which was done by this dossier to point out that things are not right, people are corrupt. So isokoti bhora mberi but vakangofaya vachiwenga ezvo takutenga data now kana vafaya vachiwenga. Thank you. I will let Lennon to go ahead. He's back. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Mwenda, for that. Lennon, are you back?
Thank you. Sorry, Comrade Geza keeps on calling me, on strategic issues. Anyway, so if you look at paragraph 3, paragraph 3 is very disrespectful of number 2. It says it is denied that only a few individuals, particularly the writers of this document, sacrificed their lives for the attainment of Operation Restore Legacy. We know what they are referring to, but it's ahistorical and disingenuous to deny that number 2 was a critical and important figure in giving legitimacy to Operation Restore Legacy. It's really disingenuous, it's disrespectful, it's an insult. It shows you the caliber of man that we are dealing with. If there is a gentleman's pact between two people, and you are not ready to honor your moral obligation of a promise that you made in good faith after you had served your behind, I think it just gives you a picture of the caliber of person that they are working with. I also want to say it's now very clear that the person behind the 2035, the 2030 agenda has now finally come out in the open. We all know in Africa the common excuse that has been used by dictators that is the people who want me to continue. I've done a very good job, so the people want me to continue. Which people? Has there been a genuine referendum, or you're just hallucinating in your mind and you wake up saying the people want me to continue? So it's now very clear that the facade which has been given in public spaces that you are a constitutionalist, you want to adhere to the demands and guidelines provided in the Constitution, it's just all a farce. The man behind the project has finally come out in the open and declared his interest to continue. So if you look at the following paragraphs that then come thereafter, you get a clear picture that he wants to continue. It's a project that has been kept under wraps. Number 2, he has then declared the battle lines, and the coming week or even the coming few days, there's so much that is going to happen. There are so many things behind the scenes that are going to happen in the interest of the national conference or in the interest of number 2. If not handled carefully, you can easily agitate people to something very funny. And if maybe we had an opposition, a formidable and genuine opposition, I want to then also make a comment that this document comes out in the open and says Chabangu has been very useful to the cause of the ruling party. I think you heard when Uncle Jed was reading that Ziyambi says Chabangu has been very useful in providing information to the status quo. So I am saying maybe strategically Nelson Chamisa had realized where the opposition was, and that it had become a compromised shell that was no longer useful in the interest of the general populace. But when such information comes in public spaces, we are required to genuinely reflect in hindsight and say maybe he was right to dump that project when this information comes in public spaces where it confirms that this is somebody who has been given information to the ruling party. So there is so much that we need to unpack, especially the legalities thereof. But for purposes of time, I do not want to bore you with gibberish and stuff. But we now have a clear picture of where we are. Given two evils, I know human beings tend to choose the lesser evil. I'm for the baboon. I foresee the baboon Akabada Chimuti 2028 in the absence of a credible opposition. Some people have been giving this wild picture that in the event that they make the mistake of dismissing the baboon, a Chamisa Chiwenga coalition could maybe usher Zimbabwe into a genuinely new space. And maybe that's the reform or the mistake that they might end up making. But this is me just speculating. I'll yield the mic and give other people an opportunity to make their submissions. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much, guys. I see a lot of messages coming through saying good handies or people are being kicked out or the space network is play acting. I'm not getting any notices of a weak network.
Those people
So can I
they
suggest?
must update their app.
Yes. Can I suggest you guys updating your app? Just check for your my settings screen you or if there's an update on it or on X because ngindakanga masaitaura kuti pama iPhones here panga pamboita imwe update yanga isiri compatible, but now I think they've sorted that out. So if you can update your thing, your app, guys, I think it should solve my problems in Gamuru Fesa. Yeah, I keep on seeing those messages. Kana ndine problem inini ndinoona a notification where, but so far I'm sitting 100%, and I am just sitting on the thing now. I am sitting on the I'm literally next to the to my Wi-Fi hub.
Especially
Saka
when my iPhone 14 and below.
right, all right, regai tiendere mberi ndikuziva kuti maginito wanga manga mataura here.
Ndiripo zvangu angondansangataura.
All right, taurai zvenyu tinzwe tifambire mberi nechirongwa.
I'm sorry background yandine noise. Ndorangoti zvangu gaga. Guys, inini hangu eZimbabweans one thing that this has clearly shown that we are being led by idiots. If all Zimbabweans, regardless of the party you support, we sit back and say, Cinema president, not vice president. Guys, with this nonsense, you are taking it right. Vanhu vari kuita kunga vakadzi vari pabarika vari kuita zvokuti munhu anenge achitsvaira pachivanze achitukirira imbwa so but message yacho iri directed kuna amai nini kana kuti kuna amai guru. This is exactly what Chiwenga and Mnangagwa are doing. It's quite sad. Then again, when Chiwenga came with this dossier first time, they came all out guns blazing. Even Larakazi. Like it's a fake it's a fake document. Even the language, the paragraph is stupid. Why then are they responding to a fake document? They told us, even George Jaramba, the presidential spokesperson, told us that thing is fake. Why then are they sitting there responding to something which is fake? Guys, it's sad. It's like, it's really, really sad. And for me, what it tells is all the things that time goes on, it's now coming, coming out to be true. Even the fact here, that for me, I've get the information only. Chiwenga was refusing Mary to see her kids because Mary was given poison by Mnangagwa to kill Chiwenga. Today, for me, this reply is proving that that rumor true. It's because what exactly is happening here, everything confirms they are protecting Chivhayo. But the Chivhayos, they issued the documents were there for all to see. Now the whole president of the country is coming out protecting Chivhayo. Yeah, it's said we're not going anywhere. For me, I think whoever is going to die first, I wish that Chiwenga akatanga kuuraya. Because ababa angobwaira chete ndiyataurawo. But inini hangu apa ndikuti kai Chiwenga akatanga kuuraya. Pane kuti iye Chiwenga atange kuurayiwa. Ndaende.
Mana mukamadaro. But anyway, regai tifambire mberi ningine chirongwa. Right. Smart as ndanzwa ningi sorry anawesonzwa ndofunga ndanzwa zvamataura. But inini where I was coming from, I'm coming from the side. Imimataura kuti this is coming from somebody ari kutya. But at the same time, you must also, remember kuti nyango munhu ari kutyaka anogona kana kuisa a defiant bravado stance yekuti aite kunge ari on top of the situation, but iye anenge achitodederawo zvake nenge ari kumashure. Because if you are looking at the content and how they've written this, they are dismissing this document as something that lacks whatever. The accusations are they are baseless, and everything that about that document. That is a document that is not well thought out, so therefore it cannot be used as a document etc. And then in the document again it goes personal, attacking the VP. Saka when I'm looking at this and the way that they paint this in the document, vanhu vandogona kunge semataramurira kuti vanhu vandogona kunge vanyasooneka kuti panapa tabatwa ngechigamu chedu. Saka zvatabatwa chigame chedu, what is it are we supposed to be doing? We cannot just coil and put in materials pakati pemakumbo kuti hazveshuwa nhingi munhu akadaro anogona kubuda ari nhingi defiant kuti hapana, but at the end of the day the facts dzacho nhingi dziripo, kungoedza zvavo kuita push back, but everything in zvirimo imomuya zvinhu zvitoripo pachena kuti zvinhu zviri kuitika mukati menyika yedu nhingi yeZimbabwe. Pakaipa regai tione anyway kuti vamwe vanoti is it Stembiso? Have you spoken?
Nyamashusha ndingangopedzisira bhodi ndamboenda pachanzi ndingene lawyer.
You were speaking vamapa Lennon.
Valapa Lennon because anga achidropa. I just want to say one statement, 1 minute. I just wanted to say what is I think at this stage now, we know that ZANU-PF is corrupt to the core, and ipapa pakapa mukuona kuti nyangwe vhini opa muchinguri paintroduce Chiwenga avapa respect. Vanhu vanozivana kuti, which means ndaona kuti Chiwenga achine power because opa muchinguri dai anga asina kupa intro ya Chiwenga matauriro aiita ka. Yeah, it was going to be something else. I respect.
Was that today?
Yeah, yes, today.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I respect. So anything can happen. I think by Friday we should know what the chichirogetika. But anyway, to long to Zimbabwe, I think it's a kaputiko notify me all. Thank you. God bless you all.
And also, one thing, also one thing, to remember, and again, Uyumuna this document. I remember Gudizo is one of the people who push for the 23rd agenda. So it won't be surprising to find, the type of language or the kind of language that has been used, in that document. Because Muna Ro push because Mukata Ziyambi, Daniel Garwe, Ningi Vanamatuke, Nirimwe Timure say they are Timur who support the 23rd agenda. Saka baba kana anga ine zvinhu zvaangaida kutaura against ningi vachiwenga. Atowana mukana kuti say wokutozvinyora ipapo kuti munharaunda kuti jairirawo regani because pane vamwe paenda personal so wanzoona kuti zvakaita akaita personal ombosiya akaita personal ombosiya munhu akatoratidza kuti angatooneka ajenda kake kuti izodambomupedzera nhingi munharaunda but anyway
what it shows vatobwaira first ivo manje achatoputika so
hanzani gezi ati zvari kuya nhasi na8:30 ka it will be interesting to find out kuti izvo achati chiini nenyaya iyoyi. It will be quite interesting kuti gezi achati chii. But anyway regai timunzwa kuna Sitembiso how you doing?
Hey, Ango Jezi Muresena, brother Titus, how are you guys?
No, we are good, my brother.
Yeah, and some bata zvangu pakawanda but chanotangira ndoti munhu atonyora statement racho anyora paragraph nawo wacho idofu because sometimes somehow mukada kuti asairo ruto expose iwo vanhu vacho vanyora izvo tikada kuenda parespond yeparagraph 15 pane statement rawanyora yataura kuti hanzi angotengera papa go straight to the point but parunzi it is not denied that the individual now referred as criminal have been funding the party for the past 20 years.
Yes.
Surprisingly, they have. So I'm going to buy only that statement. So I'm going to can sponsor party even whatever you do or criminality. So you are not untouchable. They've been sponsored part for the past 20 years. So in good books with the party, you are not going to be you are untouchable. So yes, you are right. Agenda 2030. It's quite clear. Sometimes panika. There might be so far you are going in control, but based on what they are doing, it shows that they are no longer in control of somehow. So let's just wait and see. But no, next week Friday, something might be happening. Thank you, guys.
And thank you very much. I do appreciate. Right. Zim Justice Fairness. Do you want to come through? Have you spoken?
No, not yet. Thank you so much. Saka Inindrukuti, it's so sad. It's like the emperor has no clothes. Because it's really, really sad to see a war president defending criminals. So, in other words, why I'm saying the emperor has no clothes, he's not defending Chivhayo, he's not defending Tagwirei, he is defending himself.
Right.
There is no way that Tagwirei and Chivhayo will just walk into the offices of the government and demand billions of dollars. Zvisina authorization yemukuru. Saka mukuru ndiye aitoita ningirikini arikuita endorse every tender, every payment irikuitwa vese Mnangagwa matanga veve vanenge vatori ne-endorsement yemukuru. And even vamwe vatiri kusiya tichingotaura nyaya matwins aya, they've got so much power. Ne uyuyu ari kureserve bank kubva atoti mwana wangu ngaagare papesi yenyika. Tiri kuzvisiya zvese izvozvo. Saka nezvi tasvika patinoti critical policy juncture. Tine 3 constituencies with 3 completely different interests. Constituency number 1, their ED nezvigananda zvake. That's constituency number 1, iri kuita fight tooth and nail kuti irambe iri panyanga. Constituency number 2, their VP. VP is not happy. Whether he's genuinely not happy kuti nyika iri kuporongwa kana kuti he has been sidelined in the eating trough, we don't know. But at least he has come out openly nagesa vari two kuti this is not right. The third constituent is the people of Zimbabwe, the generality of Zimbabwe, who have not been benefiting from ZANU-PF mismanagement for 45 years. Saka isusu we are tired. Kuti every time ava pavanoporonga nyika, they now come to the third constituency kuti hachitibatsirai timbobvisa uyuyu. Pavanoporonga nyika vouya kune third constituency. Kana Chiwenga are serious about real change, he needs to humble himself and know kuti on his own he will not remove Zviganandas. And he needs to humble himself and bring the third constituency as an equal partner. Not kuti third constituency ingouya kuzoita endorse him. He needs to be humble. Anagesa veve ngavanyatsoita approach vanhu vanoti there is no opposition, but we know that you are opposition, I am opposition. There is 98% of Zimbabweans who are opposition. They should really approach genuine opposition. Vaite come out with a united front. I tell you, Muswe Friday zvinhu but vakangoramba vachingoita push iyo yekuti Chiwenga hatingopindai tiindose Chiwenga without a road map ekuti taindosa Chiwenga Muswe Friday, then what? Right? I know Gesa is going to give a State of the Union speech na 8:30 today, I think, but he needs to clarify the roadmap so that vanhu vanoenda vachiziva kuti kana ndikafa ndiri kufira izvizvi. Because right now we don't know kuti kana tikaenda muroad tikafa, yes tiri kubvisa Zvigananda, are we not replacing with another team yatichati zvaazvigananda again 3 years from now? Saka inini ndiri kuti hangu, the emperor has no clothes. Constituents number 1, ED has failed. And one other thing, even if nothing happens on Friday, of which I want to believe something will happen, Chiwenga vakatamba tsoro yavo zvakanaka, but let's just say nothing happens on Friday. ED nezvigananda zvake, they've pushed the Zimbabweans so much. I'm telling you, we'll see Arab Spring uprising ichiitika muZimbabwe, because kana vari kufunga kuti they will shove Tagwirei in our mouth and we'll just continue to sit on the sideline. If they think that they will continue looting the resources of the nation and the people of Zimbabwe will continue, we will do it even without Chiwenga. We will do it. Saka ngavasada kuderera vanhu kufunga kuti isusu we are just going to keep quiet and this will continue forever. Whatever they are planning, they need to know that there is a third constituency in Zimbabwe. It's not just them na Chiwenga. Kuti vafunga kuti tikadefeata Chiwenga, tikamufire, then that's it. They are forgetting kuti power is in the hands of the people. One day vanhu vachanyatsomuka vajamuka, vataura kuti enough is enough, and it's around the corner. Kana varipo veZANU-PF, be warned.
Right. Thank you very much. Yeah, vasita vari bahasha magwigwi. Right. Chennai, zviri sei?
Zviri sei paspace, long time guys.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Ndimi kamunongohanda.
Tinombohanda. Tiri busy. Tinenge tiri busy, but I've just been following this discussion. And I just wanted to make, a couple of submissions, if that's okay, Uncle Jed.
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
I'll keep it short. So I really liked what the previous speaker was saying. I really liked the analysis she really presented. I think tofanira kumboita space yekumbonzwa just from women, because every time I come on, I always hear, a female voice that I haven't heard before, and I'm really quite impressed by the way they've analyzed and broken down the situation. But so here's what it is for me, right? In the quest for change, I believe Kuti, history is a very important resource that we have. And unfortunately, I feel like vanhu tinomboita like hanganwa tinombokanganwa kuti zvinhu zvakambonyatsofamba sei, what is our trajectory? And I want us to come back to 2017, right? What happened in 2017, even before the coup, in fact, I can say before the coup, we were seeing citizens becoming really more and more activated. In fact, 2016, November 2016, takatomboita munhu wese muroad, if some people will remember, Nana Patson and what have you, and there was a big police crackdown, Kubulawayo, and even in Harare, they were already mangama movements, Iwayanata Jamuka, just that way, just really citizens saying no. We had the whole Ivan Marira, with his enough is enough uh, campaign. It was actually the maturity that we had then is something that the Zimbabwe citizen of today, like, we're now aspiring to once more. If you remember kuti pakaenda Ivan Pipe akaenda kucourt, achibuda mucourt vanhu vakazara panze vasina kuti tanga tiri vanhu veMDC kana kuti vanhu vechii. It was just citizens vakamira panze vachiita vigil vari pacourt zvisati zvamboonekwa. So why am I saying all this? We were on a trajectory as citizens, right? And I believe I can say this with some authority because I was also really, really quite involved at the time. And I could really feel it. It was palpable. Kutivano, we are now coming into that season where this thing is no longer about the politicians. It really is about the citizens. And what happened in November of 2017 is takaita kurohwa necheusiku chaicho chekuti somebody read the room. They saw the climate, the temperature, kuti people were now ready kuenda street. People were now either we were going to do it like the previous speaker said, with or without them. You understand? And so what that faction did, ana Lacoste, vakaenda vakaona kuti no panapa isusu ngandie kuvanhu, because this guy Mugabe, his time is, we are on borrowed time. And kana Mugabe akaita succession planning yake ikaita, we are out. Ikasaita, we are still out. And they came to us with like sheep in wolves clothing, and they said, come guys, and street. And the reason why it was so easy is not because they did anything clever or anything wise. It was easy for them because a lot had already been happening to awaken the citizenry, and the citizens were ready. We were just like, at that moment, we were just so ready. So it became so easy, Vakazarama streets and all that. And this is what we did. But what then happened is, obviously, we know kuti hongu takazojamba ningi tichipinda muningi tozviziva. But also, there was a resetting of the struggle that happened. Do you understand? We did not then come back from that to carry on. If you remember, Edie then went on his charm offensive. Even the British, the international community, everyone was saying, give Edie a chance. Nevamwewo vatinoziva vatisingati hatisi kutaura mazita. Give Edie a chance. Vanhu vakadii. So there was like, by the time even we got to 2018, of course, by that time people could see kuti hapana. But our struggle as citizens, I'm not talking about the political side, it was such a negative impact because we were reset. Do you understand? And so that, and for me, that's a major concern it's a real concern, Kuti. Every time us as citizens, we are being sold this dummy, which makes us believe, Kuti, there is a quick way out. There is some kind of a savior that is going to come, and he will use us, because in Zimbabwe, if you don't have the army, you don't have money, you need the people. That's the next currency that you can use for political expediency. And so what we are seeing now is that diversion of people, and they're throwing a spanner in the works and suddenly saying, toda kubvisa zvigananda. But I'm sorry, iwewe uri kutaura utoriwo chigananda pauri ipapo. Ngatiitei lifestyle audit, ngatinzwisisei. Sentry did, and we've had these sessions. We know the Sinozim deals, where including the Angie in Chiadzwa deal, that was all very military led and very Chiwenga led. Kana kunatsotaura sezvazviri. We talked about Great Dyke, we talked about all that. And so it's all fair enough telling us kuti chigananda tinozviziva kuti imbavha, Tagwirei imbavha, but even iwewe futi uri mbavhawo, handiti. So this thing that we're trying to be told, kuti pane another shortcut avenue that we can use, but what happens is it resets us. We internally, we are now, the ZANU-PF faction, the faction kind of mood now transfers into the citizens. Isusu sema citizen kutonzi uyu ndewaningi, uyu ndewaningi. Zvakutotinetsa for us now to galvanize ourselves. And I'm telling you, until the day that we realize the strength within, where we can actually say, you know what, Chiwenga, but us, we don't need you. We are here focused on our struggle as citizens, and this is the route that we want to take, and this is how we are going to do it. It will take as long as it takes, but until we are at that point. And this is another thing that we talk about the 1 million march, whatever, and I don't want to call it, I'm not a betting person, but I know that the mood is very different to where we were between 2016 and 2017. That vantage point does not exist, I don't believe, right now at this point in time. So actually, what I see is being the purpose of this thing here is to once again reset the struggle. And I don't actually even believe, good, this is about having a coup that's suddenly going to work on Friday, and then by Monday we'll have a new leader in the country. If it happens, but if I was a betting person, I would say that that is not likely. What is likely going to happen is the resetting of the citizens' movement that will then enable or make room for another ZANU-PF somebody to come into power. And that sort of coming into power is not really going to be, we had a renewal with ED for 6 months between 2017 November, maybe kusvika kuzvinana April, May uko. Takatomboona kunge zvinhu maybe magetsi akumboramba ari on chichi. But suddenly everything went back and became worse than it was before. So, we need to really safeguard our struggle, because it's only in that moment that we as a people, we away from the politics, but as a people, we are serious about our own struggle. We are galvanized, we are organized, and are able to then, because Mnangagwa 2017, they got people, okay, Tagwirei, they went into my activists, Anna Patson, Anani, Anna Promise, all these people that were already a civic, unit. They went and they got the leaders of that civic unit and blah, blah. But if you try and look at where we are now, you know what I mean? We are not in the same space, and we really need to rebuild and get back to that level of mature citizen who is able to stand up and fight for their country. At this point in time, I don't believe we are there yet. Rather, we are being there's an attempt to outsource elements of the struggle. And I believe that the outcome of that is just going to further weaken our own movement as citizens. I think I'll pause there for now.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Guys, I've tried everything, that I can do. The try with a reset, the try with updating the app, the try everything. But people still complain with this, or they are being kicked out of the space. I can't do that. What else can I do? Because I think I've tried almost everything.
Tell them to refresh their
I
phones.
think they need. There's an update that's needed on some devices, individual devices on your X. Yeah, because I seem to be getting messages as well, but I don't have that challenge, and I see your network is stable.
Yeah.
So I think individuals need to update.
Angon,
yes,
I was facing the same problem and I had to refresh my phone. And all the time I face it, I mean, probably when you refresh your phone, it disconnects somehow. Whatever might be scrambling you.
Right.
Try to tell them, switch on their phones and switch them.
All right. Can you switch the phone on and off? Maybe. Because when I these on restarting in the space.
Sometimes
just
no, it's not about that, guys.
Restart your phone, switching it off totally and coming back on.
Not me to restart.
That's how I got in this space. That's how I got in this space.
Because I've got two
Inini kick out 5 times.
Internet two my devices.
More than 5 times. Janalizo ndizo simze gogoka. Panako simza roko ndikuita speaker ndova to cancel down ndo panatanga to connect kwa stable, but for sure inenge pane challenge.
Saka which means it's problem yangu is what people are saying good and this is host in my issues.
No, definitely not your problem.
And when you receive a spam, don't answer it, just cut it.
I think it's an X issue. It's either there's a problem with the X
because so far it's saying there are 512 people, 17 people now who are devices that are registered. Saka, are you telling me these people are not facing an issue? And we have tried all that, nothing is working. Reinstated my app, akumana. Unatambura ne connectivity akumana.
Lazika mafoni mamwe tofano tarisa mafoni edu ndema generation app. Kana iri generation iri before iri after iri before 2022 mawana.
The thing is, normally it will be the host problem. Say if you are having a problem, Uncle Jed, it will be your problem then kicking people out. But I've not seen anything coming from you. I've not seen any messages that I normally see if you are unstable. So I'm not so sure what it is. Right. I think what Uncle is trying to do, whatever he's doing, the answer.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chennai, by the way. That was Ndiani?
Steve.
Okay, okay, can I go to Fabish then Steve?
Thanks, Uncle Tedas. Uncle Jedza. Tatenda nimiwana Chennai and matters. I agree na Chennai kana na Mama Zim Justice. Nekuti tikatarisa kana even document racho ranyorwa unotongoona kuti this was intentional kuti toda kukudza chete kuti hapana zvaunogona kutiita. Iyi nyaya is set in motion and we are going to achieve it whether you like it or not. Saka it's sort of like a challenge that has been actually been projected to Chiwenga. And in the process of this power play, tinoona kuti masoja avambotraya kupuhwa motikari. But kuti titi zvinhu zvingavafadze such I doubt because these people futi vanotori nebudget ravo vega. Assuming kuti vakapinda ine proper Zimbabwe vanoziva kuti they can still get those things. Saka vari mataka akadyakara aya. They are just tools unless zvavo kana vane mumwe mufungiro wavari kuita. then zvoreva kuti iro power rinoresida mumari nemumasiti. Kana tikati kana nemabudiro azvaita apa zvatoreva kuti Chiwenga atoruza. Chinhu chaasara nacho ane power rimwe chete pasiti, like zvakambotogwa nezuro tatindakataura zvinhu zvanga zviri so profound about mateam ebhora. It was very profound daimanyazozviteerera. But ndakazosara ndakufunga ndikati but come on man, kuti play ite fair panofanwa kuita ref. I'm not talking about Chiwenga naMnangagwa man, panofanwa kuita ref. And in this case it seems like this is number one ma-citizens civic organization nevamwe vese hatisi kugona kunyatserefura. Aripo marefu akambotamba bhora iro riri kuti yes, kuti Chiwenga nemhosva timboramba nadzo mhosva dzake, kuti way forward yaari kuona hairezoneti nemunhu akafanana neni here, kuti no kuri kudiwa mari kuitwa sei sei, kana naiye waripo panyaya dzachona idzodzo. Izvi zvakutaura kuti ngazviitike zvidiswe, haasi kuzotishandisa here nekuti akambotishandisa. We are now cognizant of that fact, gentlemen. Ndosaka tatenda nezvakati pamatimu kana mukadyiwa mukarohwa zero, mukarohwa kana zero, kana mukaita draw, kana even mukawina munodzokera kuground kuramba muchingonotraina chete kuti murambe muchimaintaina that position. Mukadyiwa munonotraina futi much harder, mukadrowa futi still much harder, munongoramba muchinotraina. Saka we are now cognizant of that fact. We have discussed chena yakauya pam tikadiscussa nyaya dzemari. Endeko zvino mukatasa ndiki mangwana anga akatoposta kuti no vada unovaka mega billion dollar dam, which rine nyaya dzekuti kai kana even financing yachona yakabva kunetsa kubva kudhara. This thing was actually put on the agenda probably way back ma-60s 70s, and currently the cost of prices yekuti kai ngativake dam rakadaroka handizivi kuti ma-citizens esadhaka anorwa mari panyika. And that's a mega thing yekuti vanhu vada kuti inonzi grand theft haikona yekutamba. Zviri pachene izvo ndozvikutouya, vatozviningira vatozviita apa. Saka iye Chiwenga tikatarisa even kana character yake anoenda kucheche catholic. Cheche catholic tinoziva role yayakatamba pakutraya yekutaura chokwadi panyaya yenhingirikire, nyaya inonzi chii, nyaya yegukura hundi. Tikatarisa umwe wedu ane zvigananda zvake zvaanotengera motikari kuti zvirambe zvakanyasa kuminjisa papawa. Tinawo mamachechi mamwe futi ari kusaidi ikoko, zvekuti pamuda simba iri pamuda rabva futi kune imwe chechi futi yakaunza umwe a very prominent mufundisi munyika imomo kuti no tamba ruya uzotamba roli, nokuti patakaona mama-optics ndeyekuti mukuru wechechi akapiwa Maybach SUV ndo yakapiwa. Nawo tikatarisa kucatholic makambotamba role nevamwe ma-civic churches anonyatsomira pachokwadi. Ko madi kumboita refu munyaya yemumboti isusu nesuwo ma-citizens tine zvichemo zvedu zvatinazvo. Tichipinda munyaya iyi tisasasiya zvinhu zvedu kati tichitanga kunyatsotaura isusu, nokuti nesuwo futi tine makadzi atinawo akatakabata isusu mumaoko medu isusu, kuti kana imimi mukasatiteerera nesuwo se-citizens, unless kana Chiwenga akanyatsoya kune vanhu fair akati vanhu indazvitadza izvi zvamaoko menyu, asi inini vanhu ava vamunotya vachona ndiri kuvadzora. Asi nemaonda ati kuita zvinhu ka handizivi kuti vasi vanhu vari kudiri kwano. Tiri mu-night of the long nights and probably the outcome the way it's being played tinyatsoona kuti no ava vanhu vari kungoudza munhu chete simple as that kuti nzwanzwa shamari nyaya iri apa. Saka zvasara kuma-citizens manje. Asi handisi kuti ini ma-citizens anofanirwa kuzvifila kuti no, are we going to be protecting, because one of the things which is under threat despite iyo nyangwe ikanhingirikira ichibvumira kuchinjwa i-constitution. But tozoziva sei kuti vanhu havazorambi vachimanipulata the same constitution, because once an attempt to try and play around with the constitution, that becomes a continuous play, because there was no response to it. Bringing in a dynasty vamwe vanogona kuudza kuti ye zvakambotraiwa naningi zvikatraiwa naningi, but precedences can be set and those things can actually be protected and use those ningirire. Saka tiri panguva yakaoma. Zvinhu tiri kuzviziva tidunyeperana. Tugara takazvitaura every day machina art. Sisi chena vouya voti vakomana pane nyaya panapa iyi mari izvi muri kuiona iyi. Koya umwe futi oti no kuitika zvakati tombodiscussa the constitution iri kuviolatwa in other sections of this of ningirire of our societies. Wati munhu kananyatsoindoseka zviri most bore akanyatsopagara akati apa ndapagara apa. Hapana uyu ndamueliminata uyu ndamueliminata because history is already shown. Kana maijizim justice chavanyatsotaura panapa history is already shown. Saka inini as far as I'm concerned now the ball is in Chiwenga's court now as far as this is concerned. Kuti auye kuma citizens azotaura anyatsotiudza zvinhu zvaangatipe kuti zvinhu zvifambe. Nekuti tacognizance of the fact yekuti makambotinyepera. Asi nesu toda kudzwa nyika yakanaka nyika iripo. Saka ngavabude pachokwadi ngavabude pachena ngavataure. Ngavaise ruoko rwavo pakati pachena kunyatsoti ono kuti nesu taneta. Hatingamboramba such a situation ichingokondenzera mberi languages. And at the same time hatingamboti isusu tichida kuti sezvo zvinonakire vanhu vese mopedza kuti makutiuraya futi same people. Saka I believe as far as this is projection of power. When a clown moves in a palace, the palace becomes a circus. This is where we are at now. Thanks, Nangujet. Thanks, Nangujet.
Sorry, I was just checking on something. Steve Gay was already.
We have a problem in Zimbabwe, and I think because of the things that's been happening for me, I've decided and I've concluded that we have nobody to protect us in Zimbabwe. If you do not have money in Zimbabwe, you have nothing. That's where an investor or whatever, you have nothing here. Your vice president comes out and says that certain people are corrupt, and then he said exactly all the information we know here. And then you see the government coming out to say that no, they are not corrupt because they've given millions on this, millions on this fuel, and millions on that thing, and all that kind of stuff after someone has called them corruption. But you do not tell us where these people get this money from, right? And we are supposed to just sit there and go like, yeah, our government cares about us. And a few days ago, like I said, the things we are seeing right now, we know that if you don't have a person gets shot by the Chinese, and you were all here, you could see these Varakashi guys coming to support and protect these people. So for me, I think that it's devastating where we are right now as Zimbabwe. It's really, really bad. And now we will go there, and then I have a question. There are those people who say that in Zimbabwe there is no opposition. You hear it here first, right? You all hear it in that response. There is a guy who approves, and I think someone little go like, oh, he gives information. No, Chabangu don't give information. He approves, right? He's there as a 2G. He approves everything that the government does. He sanitizes everything that they do over there, and you've seen it, you have heard it, you see it's written, right? It's there to say that the leader of the opposition is there. He can confirm everything. Whatever we want to do, we have the leader of the opposition called Chabangu. You see, now so-called opposition. Your leader, according to the government of Zimbabwe right now, is Chabangu. He's the one who answers, and he's the one who approves all these shenanigans we are crying about right now. I know that there are so many people who are literally saying now they are they are destroying our constitution. It seems like Chabangu is approving it. You hear it here, and he is the opposition. What do we do about that? I think that we need to start asking ourselves those questions. What is it that we can do about this thing? Because this is not funny. This is not a funny game. You hear it, for those who are asking, how is the tortoise on top of the on the post, whatever. Now you heard it. He's there. He's approving. He's stamping everything. He's sealing. Everything they want. He's there. So I'm just, as Zimbabweans, you hear it here. Our government is literally, they can protect cars. They can protect anyone. If you have money, you go there, you can show them that you can give them 10%. They will protect you to the ends of the world, no matter what color you are. This is where we are today. Responded well and nicely. All he's kind of like indicated here is that the government of Zimbabwe don't care about these people. You see, it cares about the people with money. If you have money, they will protect you. So thank you so much, Uncle Jed. I need to jump into something.
Quick question, Steve, before you jump out.
Okay.
So can you then be brave and direct to say the people, the current MPs for the opposition that are in parliament, according to Ziambi's statement, that they've got a very good working relationship and it's making their life easier. Can you then, what's your message then to them? Can we explicitly say, I don't want to use the word sold out, but can you then, anyway, what's your message to them?
Obviously, my friend, you can hear it. Everyone who is there is sanitizing what is happening in Zimbabwe right now. Everyone who is in that, according to this thing you have read here, everything is sanitizing this. That's what this guy said, right? We did not say it. You did not say it. Smartest did not say that. Fabrish did not say this. Tatenda did not. Scotty, Boy, nobody said it. It's written in there that we have opposition in Zimbabwe and they agree with everything that we are doing. That's what that thing said, right? Please don't. There's no messing about. We should not make up anything. That thing literally said that Chabangu, the leader of opposition, is sanitizing everything. He agrees with us. Everything we do is no problem. They can approve. You see, so they can actually go into, right now, it's a fact that they can go into a parliament and vote something, Chabangu say yes. That's what they said. So there is no point in us kind of like a beating in Bwataka Gampinu. You see, this is where we are. If anyone who is in parliament right now saying, no, we are there because we're put there by people. No, you were not put there by people. You are put there by Chabangu, and you have seen it by Ziambi. You see? So yeah, so that's why I think, yeah, if you want me to say that they are selling us now, yes, they are actually selling us. Sorry, someone is calling me. Sorry.
Right. Pane imwe mhofu kuti vataura ivo parongesheni yezvakaitika kubviswa kwakaitwa Nhingi waMugabe.
Alright.
Akaprovida 5 million liters, akaprovida mari yechikafu, 5 million liters efuel yearmy, akaprovida mari yechikafu kuarmy, akaprovida mari imwe futi efedha million imwe mari Nhingi kupata. And these guys, they are saying what happened in 2017 was not a coup. It was the will of the Zimbabwean people.
Make sense.
That statement, it does not sit well with me.
It's an acknowledgement of state capture by an individual. Zviri kutaura naZiambi atotaura kuti nyika iri captured, army inofeedwa nemunhu one. Saka isusu vanhu tiri kunzi iyeye munhu iyeye hatikwani. Zviri kutaurwa neZANU-PF kunzi we are captured by Tagwirei. Akwanise kunzi aitwe distanced away from ZANU-PF and Zimbabwe affairs, which now give us the mandate as the people of Zimbabwe to quash everything, so that we don't have cowards like those, and we don't have parliamentarians who are like
the ones in parliament, because if kana army iri kunzi Tagwirei anonzi akaburitsa 20 million towards kubviswa kwaMugabe inova facilitator zvese, but we cannot be held. Atora mari yake, he returned his money from 2017 up to now. Uncle Gerard, he has returned his money. We should not be held by that, because aita mari, we rewarded him. He should go and sit in business, say thank you Zimbabwe for my efforts. Not kuti tochiti iye nekuti akafacilitate kubviswa kwaMugabe nyika yese yosungirwa, which is ziyambe zvari kutaura, which is chabangu is saying, and vanhu totanga kutaura kuti ma-factional fights eZANU-PF. Yes, it's a factional fight eZANU-PF, but it has a direct impact because ava kuhide behind kuti maZimbabweans. So instead yekuti varamba vachihide maZimbabweans, ngatichibudai tochiti isusu we are now removing you, whether to remove vese or to remove a component, but Tagwirei should not be anywhere near, because that money is that money that keep us prisoners.
Tatenda imwe point remember chenai paakauya tichitaura nenyaya yaTagwirei, how Tagwirei came into existing. Kuti Tagwirei was initially a friend yaEmmerson Mnangagwa, and then zvanga ari friend ndiye munhu akachivindi chekuita friend yaEmmerson Mnangagwa. Zvanga ari friend yaEmmerson Mnangagwa, he was doing things on behalf of Emmerson Mnangagwa, but businessman akangwarisa akabva aita iye kuti akabva aita mari yekuti he could no longer be a friend.
The kingpin.
Yes, he became, the kingpin. But mukada kunyatsarisa zvese is as good as saying kuti Mnangagwa orchestrated the coup yakaitika ma-2017. Ndiye akaplaya, ndiye angari behind everything. Even this money, it came from Mnangagwa.
I'll go with this man.
Mnangagwa ningi ushingi hwake hwaakaita hwokusvika kuti anonyora tsamba kuti I'm coming back in 2 weeks ningi ndisvika ningi ndichitonga. Zvinotaurwa nemunhu asina kuronga ningi tsoro izvozvo.
Uncle Gerard, kune munhu akataura nezuro kuti Mnangagwa ane 45 years achicrafta chinhu ichi. Remember nyaya yekuti akamboda kumhanyisa Mugabe naSitole netsoka kudzokera kuMozambique. Munhu uyu munhu uyu akacrafta chinhu chake, he served his purpose. Atikwanise kuramba tichienda mberi kuti isusu achinyatsoita fulfill his wish yekucapture Zimbabwe. Iye naTagwirei. Because instant capture, anditi ndo yazvuma here kunzi maGuptas vainolenda kuma airbase and vachipiwa matenda ese as a reward of kumubatsira Zuma paakapinda mupower and kumuseva kuti asende kuprison. What's the difference between this one? Why are we being too docile and just losing ourselves behind the ZANU-PF? Why we see now which is where we wanted them to be, and its cracks are going to be wide, and Chiwenga is showing balls with whether he seems good Anthony power, which where we're saying good ana power. He knows the capital that he is having now. He is taking capital that is meant to be the opposition capital, and he's making his own capital, which is the human capital, which is the citizens. And for real,
because now we know this government will do everything it can to support Gananda. They will do anything to support Chivhayo. They will do everything to support Tagwirei and why, and anyone are in the league Gananda. This government under Emmerson Mnangagwa is prepared to do anything to support these people.
Why is it vanhu ngamunhu hani pakuyese vakati uyu munhu he played a very important role in the coup? yeti tinoziva kuti pane mamwe maplayers akatamba role kuimomomo.
Yes.
And then uyu munhu deserves to get the presidents, which is his wish iye, wish yake iye. And akutaura kuti kana ukamuteera kana achiverenga speech yake akutaura kuti is the will of the people. Saka munhu akadaro mofungati asitokudzai kuti inini ka ndiri kutonga musida musingadi.
Abo mtsvango akauya akataura kuti ZANU-PF will never be bought by money. You can't use your cash to influence ZANU-PF. It's a bigger party than that. But now this is all contrary to it.
Fabish, to disturb you just a minute. Ango Jedi, Mofta Fabish and fellow Zimbabweans. Tagwirei kwamta ari kumasvingo. Akatiudza kuti if you have money, you have got the army. You have power.
Yes.
Those akuratidza kuti ari kubhudoza anyone muzanu-PF waunza kuti kazembe wakadya mari yangu. Ziyambe wakadya mari yangu. Asi kune munhu wani akuti takadya mari yako asachaidi. Which is Mukanya. And ndakafarira ZANU-PF. But he's the only person currently to speak the language. Inokwanisa kuita resonate language yatoda isusu vanhu. Munoona kana kuchitamba bhora Ango Jedi, kuchitamba Manchester United neLiverpool. Vanhu vecheusi pane one yavanopika ipapo. Kana kuti varikuda kuti both team to lose. Ndizvo zvatiri. Situation yokuti final yeChampions League ichitambwa Ango Jedi. Never teams you pick one. You always pick one with Ayo as really better you win. Because these are live reality. Live reality.
Sunday, Manchester United must win. I don't want to do exactly what we are.
To be in a realistic world and stop living in a bubble. A country is we only have one Zimbabwe. Atina, even in South Africa, qualify. That's why we mind out. Last week, my defender, my defender. I will go to the World Cup. Taka support for rugby. Daka tesa rangu akakwana. Indaka from South Africa. Ndaka from Zimbabwe. Asindoto zote nditema party no sitwa nawo vanhu vavo. I will defend against South African. So I only have one country, Zimbabwe. I have to defend it with pride and to fight for it and to advocate for it and to make others realize that yes, if fight is ZANU-PF, but what is at stake? What is the bigger picture? Is the bigger picture that we want is to defend Zimbabwe, or we want individuals that we pinpoint to say, rather in this struggle, vanhu ndopekuti munohajika struggle yevamwe vanhu moitora moitena moita yenyu. But the people they are saying chakashandiswa. Yes, kushandiswa kunowanikwa. Even my relationship, vakadzi havanomboshandisiwa here vakazororo. Imiwo murume unomboshandisiwa here wozowana umwe munhu unorora. It's life. We need to be practical about life. We need to be realistic and stop living in a bubble world.
Right. Yeah, bagaiba.
Koma ndikuda kunza kujeza. Koma ngona kukaya Mr. Jong long live akabata kana even 10.
I don't know. Right. Black Gamma. Black Gamma.
Yes, Uncle Jed.
Did say?
Nezuro ngoti kungodaita speaker ndobva ndadropa.
Shame.
Ngoita speaker yebva pasina chandichanzwa. Inini 2 cents dzangu atingi panyaya ika. One anofa. No one is better than the other. It's either Mnangagwa remain in power or Chiwenga wacho atora power. One of them wada kufedha my interests out. So isusu is vanhu vari zvakashtaurwa namukoma kuti unosupporta Man U, but kana pachitamba Chelsea neBayern final, we have to pick a team. Yes, we can pick a team and also support a team like the way you support your own team. But on the other hand, unongoziva kuti team iyoyo ikawina, there's nothing I'm going to benefit about. There's nothing I'm going to brag about. Kuti Bayern yahwina but vanhu vanongobvunza kuti but muri wemanyuka imi makangano here kuti makarohwa musuni handiti. So that's how it is. Pane statement ranezuro raNelson Chamisa rekutaura kuti inini handisi kuda kupindira mazviri. We all have a choice and we all have a right yekuda kuva involved in some things, whether zvinokubhenefita or whether it doesn't benefit you. It's up to you kuti uite sei, udecide kuti uri kuda zvipi. Saka let's not hold Chamisa at ransom tichiti ngauye atibatsire, ngauye atiite sei. Isusu ngatiite zvatiri kuita. Chamisa is trying to push kuti ma-citizens kana arwadziwa. Hello, muchaona zvekuita kana ma-citizens ngarwadziwa. But at the point tikada kutarisa ma-struggles ese, you're right. Ma-struggles ese ari kuitwa wherever it is. Haasi kuuya naleader, ari kungouya nevanhu. So okay, ndokubatai time ndozopedzisa rega imboshanda.
All right, thank you very much.
All right.
I hope is there.
Uncle Makadizwe. Hello.
Hello, makasimbere mkumangu.
Aiwa takasimba. Ina hangu semonera ndiri kuzviita zvangu Tagwirei zvapinda muCentral Committee zvadhakwa izvi. Isusu ma-citizens takasamira tega hapana zvatinokwanisa kuita. And general wani pavanokwanisa kugumirawo vaitawo pavo zvakudo vanhu vachipinde vega ma-streets sezvavaitawo neMadagascar. And the soldiers ended up saying citizens are our brothers and our sisters, we cannot kill them. Yeah.
Right. Okay, saka kupinda kwaita muCentral Committee nikichato chaya.
Ndiri kuona ngezvaendwa izvi. Zvaendwa izvi zvangojera kuti tinogona kupinda maTwitter space tigoposta paTwitter tigoenda paYouTube tigoita sei but izvi zvinongoda vanhu vapinde vega mustreet izvi vangomire vega because pane pavanogumirawo general pane pazvinozongovakurirawo kuti ndambozamawo ende vambozamawo zvishuwa vega. Munhu anagesi vanhu vese muZANU-PF zvinozovaremerawo vakura general.
Munhu ari kudhirira nemafia.
Aiwa timu rakasimba iri.
Angujedza chinhu chakarongwa kubva kudhara isi takakura tichichiona chichinyatsorongwa kangujedza. Makomo akapera kwekwe kusati kwambouya maChina, gomo rainzi Gaika so rakapera. Maclassroom matakadzidza isusu ndo makabuda makomba imomo.
Right.
Chinhu chakatangwa kudhara inini muichiko zvino makangosetegwa bhora redombo chete. Makambotamba chikwefe?
Obvaisirwa dombo mukatimo.
Right. Yeah, yokuti uyu munhu angara chindirova idambomuganhira obva vanonyatsogadzira unyatsorita round chairosasa chidombo chako. Woti mukoma rovai ndinyatsobata. Rovai short. Vouya mukoma vanyatsorikava dombo.
Wakatombozviita iwewe ndo language yemunhu akambozviita izvozvi kuti mira mukoma mira nyatsoriseta. Wakazviita playground iwewe ndo language yacho.
Ndozvikutoitika. Akatodaro saka munhu anofamba chimokamina achiti chimufanire chinhu chachiuraya chete.
Zvaendwe angojera ndapasina.
Right. Saka now that Geza is saying Godizo is coming in to address, given this development yaitika, because so far tine two developments yaitika and considered major. Yamuri kutaura mukoma yekuti yatagwirei. And they need this reply to that document and the language that has been used in there. Kufunga kwenyu, what else can Geza say about this? Kufunga kwenyu.
Geza semunhu ada kuonekwa semunhu ane pawa acharamba achingopusha nyaya yemachi achingotukana Tagwirei nekudii but yango toothless bulldog yakungohukuro zvisina basa izvi hapasina. Izvi zvinotoda vanhu veZimbabwe kuti vamire vega vatanoita nazvo izvi but timu riri kumberi mukuru. I wasn't anticipating yekuti Tagwirei achaswona into Central Committee but mapindiro aita ndazovana kuti didero neni kuti hapasina kana chino.
Mukoma munonzi hope. Don't lose hope mukoma. You've got a good name. Makutaura kunge zvatofa zvadhakwa. Apo muri mukoma hope.
Ndinotobvisa pakanzi hope ndongoti is there. Pongosara pana is there cheta. Hope yosara asisipo. Tine kakutya, zveshuwa mukuru munoziva kuti general vaigona kumira vari vega but zvaiva zvichido support yevanhu ende support yaanoda haisi yepatwitter but isupport yevanhu kutopindawo mastreet odazi kuti aiwa taneta mukuru but takaramba as long as tichabatirwa patwitter tichabatirwa payoutube hapana kwatiri kuenda tinenge tichingotambisirwa nguva tichingoitwa sei dhata reikono tinoramba tichingowedzera tichingodhura vachingoita mari futi vanhu ivavo isu tichingokwarana nenzara kuti zimbabwe kwete zvombotamba.
But they do respond to Twitter stuff. But anyway, no, I'm right. But what I can only tell you, in politics, 7 days is a long time. Even 24 hours can be a very, very long time. So I think until Friday.
1 second, and it will count angotaita kuti kwasara 1 second chete. What is the poll going to say?
It's
a long time.
It's a make or break. Anti madeza achatara achasvika. Next week tirakuona kuti zvinofamba sei. But as I know it, mazimba vanhu vanongo zvinongoitika tobva tangomove on with our lives and as if nothing happened, you know. If we had the zeal to be fighting, tingade tiri pane imwe stage zvinezvi mukuru. You can look at how Chinese are mistreating Zimbabweans in Zimbabwe. It's very bad. You will never see a Zimbabwean mistreating a Chinese person in Zimbabwe and they'll get away with it. But it only happens in our country, and we keep quiet about it as if it's something which is normal. Chiwenga watara nyaya zvigananda, but what happened? Nothing happened. Ziyamba buda achitaura zvinhu zvake zviri emotional, as if he's in the right.
Yeah, bakaipa.
Pamusoro pazvo futi kusvotesa futi general wacho bva watosona ini futi Tagwirei muCentral Committee.
Abhaiswa imomo.
Apaiswa imomo macho muCentral Committee momo. So which means nemari yake yaka akutitenga vanhu zvakanaka manje muCentral Committee.
Right. Yeah, bakaipa. Aiwa, regai timbonzwa kubva kuna mukoma Obed Muzembe. How you doing?
Yes, thank you so much, Mkoma Gerard. All I wanted to say is that the battle that is ensuing between these two protagonists is not about the people. It's not about restoration of our nation. It's not about righteousness and justice in our country. It is a battle of self-interest between these two guys. And what we have witnessed happening over the past few days is a political battle between ED and Chiwenga. And as I can see right now, politically, this is a checkmate against the general. And the answer or recourse for him lies elsewhere other than the political space. And only time will tell whether he has that recourse or not. I think there's been a lot of speculation over what he can do or not do. But I think now this is the time for us to see how he can respond, because one would wonder how he could go and stand against the Titanic like the Nkumbi challenge him in these spaces that he has challenged him with, the way he has done that dossier and so on, if he didn't have another plan. Because obviously, looking at how politically the things are structured, if he's smart enough, he would have seen that there's no way out for him politically. So where does his hope lie? What was he thinking all this time, starting a battle against a gigantic, figure political like ED? So let's wait and see what time will tell. But I also think that the developments now are almost like a vindication for Nelson Chamisa, in the fact that over the past few days, many people were saying, Chamisa should have done this or done that, should have jumped in and support the demonstrations and so on. Now people can tell that this has nothing to do with the people. This has to do with the interest of these two guys. Maybe circumstantially people might to benefit, when these two guys, fight each other and we have to come up and retrieve what is left of it. But I believe right now ANC is vindicated, and let's see what will happen where, the general is going to get his comeback, because right now this is a political checkmate and he has got to find an answer elsewhere other than the political space.
Right. Thank you very much for that, Mkoma. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. Right. Can we quickly... Elisha, have you spoken?
Angojet, not yet. How are you?
Kumutaura kana Mkoma. Mungu usumuzoga kana karuoko so. Ngodayo bichana so ngodayo karuoko so.
Uncle Jed, I was a little bit late, so I'm still picking up.
All right.
Yeah.
Saka muchiri kupika here kana kuti?
Yeah, you can move to someone.
All right, Mr. Moy.
Thank you, Uncle Jed. Bit of a long time.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Yeah, manga muri kupiko.
Underground, Baba.
Vakaipa.
Tinongodzoka paakupisa.
Munongodzoka ningi takunyorera vamwe maobituaries.
Takunyorera vamwe tichipindurana tichirwa haikuona zvekutaura.
Ndikoko.
You know what? We are not so hope. He spoke so plainly and very simply, and I like that because that is how a portion of our masses is seeing things. Kungoti panapa zvazvadai zvinenge zvadhakwa, and this is the only solution. That point of view may look too simplistic, but it's a view that is being carried by a fair amount of people on the ground. You'll find kuti kana dzatungana kudai so panofanira kunge paine a party that or a body of people who break the tie, and that body is expected to come from the citizens themselves, who then come up to say, this is not what we want for ourselves. We want to remind ourselves, Kuti, who are the owners of the nation of Zimbabwe? It is the people of Zimbabwe who have employed these civil servants. And the people then have a mandate to act whenever they sense kuti their interests are not being served. So kana paita kutungana kwakadai so, it is the same people who rise to the occasion and say we are breaking this tie and this is what we are looking forward to. However, it may not be because of the nature and dynamic of politics, it may not necessarily be the extreme positive outcome that people would want, where there is a total overhaul. And let's sit back because none of the two principles save our interests and things like that. Kazhinji kacho, sometimes it doesn't play out like that. We may not achieve an immediate overhaul yekuti taakuchinja everything at once, but kana uchida kuita bring down a house of bricks or a house of stones, unoita uchibvisa one, then pane paunozongobata so pekuti chinhu chese chinoita sei chinoondomoka. So it's very important kuti vanhu varealize kuti ndivo vane mandate. The more we continue looking at I always say this when I come to these spaces, kuti, you can always say something without saying something. Kana kuri ku diplomacy, they always say kuti, you can say something without saying something. You can speak volumes with your mouth shut. What does that mean? It means if you sit at your house, observe, and you're looking at things from an analytical perspective, which is what we are very good at anyway, what we'll be doing, we are propagating more conversations and more spaces, such that the next time say Monday after the 17th or whatever, we'll come back here again and say, let's have a post-mortem of what has just happened. And we'll continuously have post-mortems until when we wake up one day in 2031 and you have an official one-party state. So all I can submit for now is kana taona zvatinenge taona as people, we need to come to a point where we give ourselves the mandate to rise to the occasion, because one way or the other, if you don't plan your life, and it not someone else will plan for you. So it's a very simplistic approach, but it's a very true approach, and it's a very factual approach, because you think kuti uyu akaita move akafoira pachapinda umwe and achatrayawo move rake ofoira, and then pazopinda futi umwe otrayawo move rake rozodonha palast minute, uyo opindawo otraya, and we're expecting individuals to sort of be the supermans of the future of Zimbabwe. And it may not look like that. Superman wacho wacho ndeuyo ari muspace munomu ari kuteerera, ari kutoona the need to effect a change. So yeah, that's my submission for now. It's a simplistic approach, but matauriro aita hope yo atotaura from a perspective that a lot of people are seeing things kuti amana patiri panapa, the next couple of months before 2028, tichienda kumberi uko, if people themselves do not, bring themselves to a place where they want to do something, it's gonna be another story. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. I appreciate Wongai. Do you want to come in?
Yes, Mkoma. Masera say,
Tabosfera
uh,
Makiro.
taswera. Koma ini ndine mubvunzo kune vateereri pano. Kana pana anokwanisa kundibatsira kunzwisisa exactly what's going on. Mubvunzo wangu wakamira pakuti saka tomboti kuZanu PF vanti vari kupasa resolution number 1 yekuti ED until 2030. So does it mean kuti kuda Tagwirei is investing so much like this kuti azopinda 2033? And does it mean kuti all other aspirants vari muZanu PF are now have not just subdued to kuda? What exactly is going on?
Right. Mkoma hope. Ndawana masumza ruoko muda kuwapindura.
ndinangwapinduro semanzwira angu manzwisiro angu.
Right. Tibetins.
Vision 2030 haisi yekuti idi ari kubva 2030 ba, is 2030 and beyond. Kungobheitwa kwatinenge tichingoitwa uku, but after that mukomana ndinga kuti ngorurumuka achienda akadaro zvinoisa misikezi kusvika afa.
Plus zvatodhakwa for vanhu vakaita sana manhizi kana Tagwirei amucentral committee, because
Saka
manhizi
Tagwirei ari kuzofanira kupinda at which point?
at a point whereby ED will be a Sekurusa Mugabe, and to protect my interest ED, nevana va-ED, or as a prime minister of a dynasty, because ED 2030 ndeyekuita Zimbabwe into a dynasty. Saka anongoona kungoti Tagwirei be my prime minister, hapana anozviramba.
handiti tinoziva kuti mamona handiti
But
tinoziva kuti
isusu
mamona
maziviro atinoitawo vaMnangagwa time imomori yawo
Afa bishi momira.
kwanga kune yenzi chiyana mai mujuria vakaita zvavakaita vakaeliminata competition vakasara neG40 yakazvimirira. Izvi zviri kuitika izvi hakusi kuda kueliminata competition here, tukozobudawo kamwe kafaction later on.
As of now, our competition, the only competition is General Chiwenga. And General Chiwenga, varunyazozvati kuri kuda kuiswa chigananda to suppress his interest. Ana manhizi vakagara vataura kuti idofu. So he has to fight kuti approve kuti asi dofu, and for 45 years ari military. And the time before 45 years of independence, anga ari maranks military, ari high victory Chiwenga. He has to prove that kuti he is a tactician also on his end. Asabvume kuitiswa, asabvume kudhakwa. Because here now as the opposition is as the citizens. Citizens are the opposition. And the citizens are the ones that have got more mandate. We are the ones who have to choose what we want.
Saka muri kuti imi muzanu PF mungori ne2 mafaction. Faction ya Chiwenga nefaction ya kuda kwashe Tagwirei. Ndo vanhu vavo tu vari kudaita
Kwanga
mapresident.
kune chi3 yamanhizi Christopher Mutsvangu. But Chris
ivavo vese avo
anoda mari stereki. Saka ndosaka akachinja his dimension.
Pamsoro hamufungiwo here kuti kuda Tagwirei akutoitwa vice president apa? Hamusi kuonawo kudaro?
Ina hangu handisi kuona kuti Tagwirei anoitwa vice president, but Tagwirei ari kushandiswa sekufranda mari yaED kuti asave mapepos aED.
Ayo kana Chiwenga akabviswa.
Tagwirei knows nothing about politics wazanu-PF. Ndiwe ku-SDA pamwe dai anataura nyaya dzaapindirei
kwari kupindirei muCentral Committee. Hausi kuona this is a ploy yekuti vachimupinza pavice president. Ndiye successor akudiwa.
Ndiye akabata bhegi ka. Ndiye ane bhegi rinenge rikoza.
Ndokutopinda kwacho. Ndokutopinda kwacho. Maybe 2030 ndiye anenge atoripo.
Plus pagold mafia paipai pane munhu akamboti general vedu Dandahead, handiti? You remember? So
vazhinji angotitus imimi ndozenyu munosensa asi isusu tovataura nemazita. Mufundisi weimwe sangano rihombe anombotambira kuno kuUK Hubert Angel ndiye umwe wekuti general weDandahead. Saka nhoroondo yekutaurwa kunzi general weDandahead iri kuramba ichitaurwa, and the general has to prove kuti asi Dandahead, because zvataurwa naHubert Angel, zvataurwa namanhizi kuti iDandahead. So he has to prove kuti handisi Dandahead, and I think he has been trying to prove by fighting back nemadossier ake anova ane honest, but he needs the backing of true ZANU-PF people before us Zimbabweans support him. The first point of departure inobva muZANU-PF imomo. Isusu vanhu tozongotiwo towedzera moto unofanira kutanga kubvira muZANU-PF.
Yeah, bagaiba magwigwi chaiyo.
Ango Jet.
Ndeibe baba.
But at some point, ED is on record saying that he wish kuti iye pari kusiya papinde a younger generation, not of his age. So we don't know how these things is going to play out. But he's on record saying that.
ED achirengoti akuzoziya kuti zvari pasungura here, ari paZimdanso record here, munhu wacho anonetsa. He's always on the record of saying something.
But the
turns left, turns right. Munhu wacho anonetsa, man.
The whole issue, Ango Jet, is about protecting their interest. And that's the biggest thing that the country is facing. The dilemma that we are in is these guys are there to protect their interest. Pakaitwa mistake kusiya wakomana wachiluta. Now they have accumulated wealth. So what they are going to do is that they're going to devise methods and ways to protect that, because they know the consequences of not being in power and having this ill-gotten wealth. They know it. So it's more like those makorese wakamapedza mahara, because it's pakapinda umwe munhu, popinda umwe munhu asine these guys. What it means that person automatically is going to touch those looted. So I feel ndopane fear ya rume baba. It have nothing to do with the people of Zimbabwe. It have nothing to do with the corruption. I think these guys, they're just fighting for a bigger chance. I think so.
Ndinewo mubvunzo wangu Gerard musati mapa umwe.
Right.
Pane point yataurwa namukoma wachiti ED ari kuti iye ada kusira a younger generation handiti, and already we know kuti pane chitrio cha iye chigananda chiome chidafu ichi naTagwirei ko kana yanga generation acho ari Chivhayo tinopona here seZimbabwe? Maybe Tagwirei is being used to soil the road for Chivhayo.
Aiwa, hango jet,
tese mapostori tikazvirega uzopfeka gemenzi munhu wese.
hango jet, hango jet,
topera nekuimba hosana.
hango jet.
Hello.
Pane pehosi isi kuoneka kapa, pane mwana vake kapa ari papa, but that moment haasi kubuda kumberi.
Right.
So these guys, remember these guys, these cool guys, remember these cool guys, they've got a behavior that is easily predictable. Through gun and militia, what they do is that they will create my dynasties. And those are what ori. And the panos do Buddha futika, one of Buddha foot in a footy foot. And
Right.
how they are doing their things. Wakapin and a put my elections. Now they are saying that awacha to do my elections are. What it means that the nation is boiling. People are boiling. Antika recourse in the EP. Akusina ballot beyond 2030. Chichaitika chi. They are pushing on kupinda mutochi warona kupinda mukona. And at the end of the day, one implode people are chapina streets. Whether wachapinda mastreet wachidwa naningi but vachapinda chete. The moment yekuti vanhu havasisina way to express out through the ballot, voting is more like frustration. But vanhu vakunzi havachatovote, then what? Ndo pachatiza ruma vachatiza futi nefuti at the end of the day.
Mazimba angatopera atsvaga masiwo ese kuenda kuUK pari zvino kana zvakadaro havagaremo.
Hakusisina masiwo ese akuike kuUK akavharana. South Africa iri kuenda kumaelections inenge isiri kuda vanhu, saka vanhu they have to remain there. America iri kuda 10,000 kuti upinde, so the fight now, the ground is very fertile.
Kwakudiwa futi A-level English, kwakudiwa futi A-level English.
Vanhu vachamuka nekuchangamuka, vanokurwa imomo.
Salad hadzishande.
Uncle,
zvatikuita izvi kuZimbabwe, there's something wrong
fundamentally wrong. Mati pane message
pandikuona something chapostiwa nemukadzi waPatrick Chivhayo panapa 34 minutes ago. I don't know if anonzi Beauty Chivhayo. Chiwenga, it is understood, spoke briefly. He reportedly said, "I've listened to all your presentations, and I'm convinced that all of you support Rigananda. It's okay. I acknowledge it." The room reportedly fell silent.
Izvozvo zvakunakidza because divided room.
Is that the one yaiswa nafadza yemaherero yari kudizvo apa? But what was the president saying? What was the VP saying up?
Anonzi Beauty Chivhayo, mukadzi waPatrick Chivhayo.
I know that one.
Fadzai.
No, I'm just saying, is that something that
if you look for a Beauty Chivhayo, let me see if I can forward it to you.
Yeah, you can, please.
So, but hatisi kuitiswa nemapolitician here.
I don't
because
think
no
so.
one is fighting our corner. No one is fighting corruption. But,
guys, my politicians can't do basa rawo kuitisa vanhu.
Sorry.
No, this wasn't. I don't think this was Central Committee. Because Central Committee angakapfeka hembe ngemusangano. But apa just saying kuti hanzi inda kujaidzana kudai so or something like that. But hanzi nyanga irichi. But I don't think it's related to that anyway. But anyway, rikatifambire mberi. Sorry guys, ndiri kuita munhu arohwa nekangirikiniso nekaflow nekachikosoro saka pakaipa, saka mondiregererawo mukanzwa wada kukosora apa mberi penyu motoziva kuti nemakwikwi. But anyway, aiwa ndo yandakatovhura izvo so. Right. All right. Can I ndoda kuti ndinzwe kubva kuna can I bring in Kaki Jobs into the conversation, and Auntie Diaz, if you can if you can come through after next. So Kaki Jobs, please take the mic. Right. Kaki Uningosibo, right? Auntie Diaz.
Yes, Mkoma.
Yeah.
Ndaida ngotaura kuti politics dzechisaladi dzatiri kuita kuzimbabwe hadzishande, nyika iri kutsva, and anyone ari kuudza kuti wait another day is not genuine. Baba kubiwa kuri kuitira munyika umwa, to wait until my election 2028, would there be anything left? This is ridiculous. We need to stop this today. Nekuti babaka, what we are fighting is corruption. Anyone who's against corruption, regardless of your political affiliation, asikana kuda kumbomira, ari kumama tisu, ari kumwa mvura ine tsvina tisu wamachigeza ne bottled water, anogona kuzadza bottled water mutabhu ogeza onwa. Tiri kuzviona zviri kuitika. How do we justify kuti mumwe munhu ari kujamba masewage padoor, mumwe munhu achifamba neRolls Royce, maMaybach? Such extravagance, such opulence. It's ridiculous. Akomana munhu wese ari kutaura kuti chimbomirai. We've been used nema politician. No one is fighting our corner. Kuti hatina mishonga, hatina chikafu, hatina ma school fees. How do we change this? But ivo ari kutaura kuti aiwa, tanga mandiisa ipapo inini kana ndaenda ndoisa government isina corruption. No. You want us to put you in power. Those that kutaura Zimbabwe, no one is going to give us anything on a silver plate. Kuti aiwa, saka iye Chiwenga ngatanga atiudza kuti masoja haazotipfuure here kuti tiende mustreet. Kana Chamisa utaura kuti aiwa ngatitange tadzokera 2023 totangira ipapo. No one is going to give anyone on a silver plate. We know the judiciary is captured. We know the police has been captured. We know the army now has been captured. We have no choice. It's death or we have to live with what it is. Tichimamira mumarwizi vamwe vachifamba.
Can you avoid using that word, Mkoma? Can you avoid using that word, please?
Sorry, Baba.
I didn't mask in money in early evening, in early morning, in early afternoon.
Sorry, Baba. Mama. So sorry, Mkoma. That is what we are saying, yeah. It's not right. These people have no souls. They have no souls. When we go from a road accident, when we outside mishonga, but you donate a motor and a motor in our faces. There's something wrong, Zimbabwe. I don't know if it's mental health, and I don't know what chima demoni nema postora enda bambera, but I'll yield. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I do appreciate Mkoma. Thank you very much. I do understand. But I want to bring in can I bring in the army what? The army sticker king. The army sticker king.
Maswera sendunzvika.
Mushe ataura starting it is
the mystical king.
Oh, the mystical king.
Matuke.
Oh, the mystical king. The mystical king. All right, okay.
Okay, inini hangu handina zvakawanda zvekutaura, but ndamboita research paX apa ndichimbozama kuda kutsvaga information yandanga ndichitsvaga but ndaishaya, saka I think panapa ndo pandogona kutowanawo zvimwe zvimaansa zvandiri kuda. Pane vhidhiyo randaiona nezuro rakaitwa repost nachimwono remumwe mufesi hanzi ndakanganwa zita rake mufesi anga akapfeka suti yered, so anenge aitwa kamwe kainterview nemumwe mukadzi. Like pane paakataura zvekuti Jonathan Moyo and the Swiss embassy, ipapa pameno kana muchikwanisa kundibatsirawo kuti da kubvunzisa kuti what does the Swiss embassy have to do with nyaya dziri kuitika idzi. Ndo pangori nequestion yangu zvangu.
Apparently, it is being accused as behind some of the electoral malpractices, or whatever that are happening in Africa. I'm told that they were involved in Malawi when there was that election dispute. So they are appearing as if it's one of those organizations that can be think tanks and brains behind some of the manipulation of election results in my countries and Africa, and probably in my countries where they can have an influence. So that is how I understood them. They are all hence Uyu they are behind the BBI, the Breaking Barriers Initiative document that we are now being told Chabangu is involved in that document, and is the one who brought it to the attention of the government. Kuti ona iwa Mwari tikambomhanya neichichi toita kuti zvaMnangagwa varambe varipo, isusuwo tobva taona kapeki kedu kuti zotirambe tiripo. I see how appealing that is kune munhu akaita saChabangu, and it shouldn't be surprising that we are learning now kuti Chabangu is involved in trying to mutilate the constitution, or in trying to prevent holding of my elections, because they know kuti pakangonzi my elections anyatsodedzerwa chaivo chaivo hapana anomuvhotera nekuChabangu, kana nhunzi chaidzo chaidzo hadzimuvhotere, kana mapete chaiyo chaiyo mumba make haamuvhotere. You understand? Saka you can get now this individual trying, being in bed ningine government to try and make sure kuti we change this constitution. We no longer do elections in Zimbabwe. My elections anenge ane umwe mutoo wekuita sei wekuconduct kuti machuzirwo atinge ma-leaders anenge akuitwa ningine umwe mutoo. Saka that is basically my understanding of zvinhu zvacho kuti zvinenge zviri kufamba sei ipapapa. That is where that organization is coming in.
Okay, thank you. Aiwa, ndapabata.
Right. Tender. Thank you very much. I do appreciate. Ningikini Magneto. Do I say Magneto?
Mati Magneto Uncle Chief.
All right. Mm. And then Dread.
I will just do a quick one. I think for me, Mnangagwa and maybe his people, there is something, there is a misjudgment which they are doing with General Chiwenga. First and foremost, the rank of general, it's a life rank. That rank with the general is his rank for life. His credentials as an army general, they haven't changed simply because he's now out of the barracks. VP Slander, the current Defense Forces commander, if he meets Chiwenga today, he's likely to salute him twice. Because one, you saluting the rank, the general, as his senior. Then you'll be saluting the appointment. If they remove Chiwenga as today as VP, Slander, he meets Chiwenga tomorrow. He still salutes Chiwenga because he'll be saluting the rank, not the appointment. Chiwenga can walk in any army base in Zimbabwe today and give orders as someone who is still serving because his rank is a rank for life. So they might misjudge and say, oh, go to the barracks, and his powers in the barracks, they haven't changed. They're still the same. And the person like Tagwirei can go to an army base with his money today, and Chiwenga without anything. Soldiers won't be loyal to Tagwirei with his money. Soldiers will be loyal to Chiwenga. Soldiers will always be soldiers. They might have the money, but they won't buy loyalty from the soldiers. More so, the people who are benefiting from these monies, they are high-ranking soldiers, of which there are only a handful, not the rest of the guys. So on that one, it's a misjudgment on their part, thinking that because Chiwenga is no longer in the barracks, If you go to Chiwenga's house today, he still has got his uniform. He still has got his military revolver. Futi yake anayo, anotogara nayo. Issued by the army. And akataka izvo zvanogona kupinda any army base kunochinja kuti no, can you replace this one? Can you take this one? I want another one. He still has that. And he still has those powers. So on that one, for me, they are, it's a, I don't know. I can simply say it's a misjudgment on their part. The army generals in the army, those guys, especially the war veterans, they won't be loyal to Mnangagwa. They can just say yes, 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 but they will be never be loyal to Mnangagwa. Especially those from the Zandla side, ex-combatant. Maybe, I can maybe say maybe, Mnangagwa might get loyalty to those younger guys like a promoter recently who are not war veterans. But on the part of war veterans, never. Those guys, they won't be loyal. Because, do you know, back then, for me, when I was still in the system, that thing, even, do you know what it is? Even kukwira bus, pane masits waiti ukapinda bus, pane masits ezandla, and pane masits ezebra. It was common knowledge. You get into an army bus, you don't sit on a zebra seat, you don't sit on a zandla seat. That division was there, and I hope, I believe up to now it's still there. And these guys, you would even find with even the other retired guys, they are still loyal to Chiwenga, and they are not happy the way Chiwenga has been treated. And that's a fact. Anyway,
Like, are you saying we are likely to see some some kind of further action coming from these guys?
definitely. I tell you, Chika Bondoka today, Mnangagwa, it's a misjudgment. You would see a lot of the guys who are saying yes, boss, yes, boss, yes, boss today. But once Chika Bondoka, they will be siding with Chiwenga. And that's a fact.
Right.
No matter
I
how
want to
many
question something.
no matter how many cars they give them today, but Chika Bondoga, those guys in the barracks, especially war veterans, they will side with Chiwenga.
Interesting. Right. Okay. Dread.
Ango, can I question the guy?
What question are you?
An emergency.
What question on Magneto?
An emergency question.
Huh?
I think there's a fundamental thing here.
All right, Bunzatins.
I want to question quickly Magneto where he says Chiwenga can give orders and those orders will be followed. That's not correct. He has been disappointed from that. He has got an honorary title there, but he can't give orders. Magneto, can you qualify how he would give order when he's out of the command chain?
So, excuse me, my friend, it's not an honorary rank. Whether he just retired, that rank is it's a rank for life. Get educated on that. Not only general.
But Magneto, if we go by your argument, it means these people can ignore orders from all the retired soldiers. It wouldn't make sense. It means all the retired people can give orders to the army.
Okay, let me answer you, my friend. I'm not arguing with you. I'm not saying the Air Force and within the army. There are ranks which are presidential appointments. For you to be promoted to that rank, you need approval of the president. Chiwenga becomes the general and a defense forces commander in 2004. At the moment, he's even more senior to Valerius Landa. Valerius Landa salutes Chiwenga, he salutes appointment as VP, and he salutes the rank. He cannot salute the rank if it's an honorary rank. It's a rank for life. That's not an honorary rank. It's his rank for life. He still has his powers, which he used to wield when he was in the army. So that one is nothing is going to change about that. And he's still being bound by the Secret Act of the Zimbabwe of the Defense Act, because by the Defense Act of Zimbabwe. He's still bound. Yes, Chiwenga today, akaita mhosva against the laws of the you go to court martial because of his rank. So whatever you say, he still has the same powers. He goes, he has no any army base in Zimbabwe. He goes through without any assetwe. So they will salute and open the boom for him to get through. Even akabviswa akanzi achisiri vice president. And Mnangagwa has got no powers to take away that rank. The only way they can take, unless if they charge him, either charge him with treason, then wakamuti, okay, he was treasonous. Yes, that's the only way they can charge him. Of which Anigarma cooked up charges. And that's the only way they can derank him, take away that rank, which he's been treasonous, and they take away that rank. And they derank him to maybe to private. But other than that, nothing. Even the day he's going to die, as the vice president, he's going to get full military honors. And coffin raga ringotakurwa navanhu nje makoporo rinotakurwa with very high ranking army officials, because if a soldier dies, it's either your same rank carries your coffin, but with the Chiwenga, coffin that Chiwenga ritakurwa no sergeant. It's otherwise colonel and above, because he's a general. Get educated on that. Thank you. Ndaenda Angojet.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much. Dread. 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 Muriwera up. Right. Okay.
Dread waenda unomona.
Sorry, ndamboita busy ndaita busy mbopinzai vamwe.
All right, Dread. Thank you very much.
Sharp.
Tipeo kuna Joseph.
Thank you, Uncle Jet. Yeah, the guy Magneto Zartaura, it's true, but given the history of Zimbabwe, it doesn't work in Zimbabwe. What works in Zimbabwe is money, and also the situation in a general in Mnangagwa is a very sophisticated one. Remember that Mnangagwa has been at the center of security services for a very long time. Even from the days Yatakawina independence up until now, he has been the justice minister. He has been at the center of the security services. He actually knows kuti marquis kunochengetwa futi ari kupi. He knows all those things. This guy has been very intelligent. He has controlled the military services for a long time. This is why he knew, pakatika 2017, he knew which general waishandisa, and he knew which generals to eliminate soon after. But coup. Hence, you see, kuti vana Sibusiso Moyo were eliminated. So this is a very, very difficult situation. And given the fact that Kuti Mujuru was killed in a house, and that was orchestrated by Mnangagwa and his Lacoste faction, because they had to eliminate. Then Makaona would, after the general eliminate, it became easier for them to attack Mujuru, and that's how Mujuru faction was eliminated from the power struggles. So general at this moment is very vulnerable. The only thing that they are banking on is for people to be on the streets. Otherwise, this could be very, very dangerous for the general. That's my view, because if you see who rode the tanks on the streets, if the answer is Mnangagwa a few months ago, then then it means that Mnangagwa has a lot of power. And because they've bought a lot of people, this is exactly what happened in Cuba when the Viganandas were Cuba were openly buying all these expensive luxuries, which then led to July uh, 2026 movement, Yana Castro. But they had to be brave. No situation at all. A situation at all, yeah, kuda my citizens. Teaching not to bank our hopes on in one person. Thank you, Uncle Jet. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I do appreciate. Yeah, na ndikutoseka zvangu headline yarohwa neThe Herald.
Hanzi kone bepa now.
Handizo ZANU PF unfazed by Chiwenga. And rapes him for treasonous statements, reaffirms primacy of politics over the gun.
They are playing a dangerous game.
Yeah, zvinogona kunakidza
Mhm.
in the coming few days. Pakaipa.
Mabasa anda banini mangwana na jamwanda. Vabva vabatana ne2 mimwe mipengo manje. Inini I hate ziyambe nomwe wake anonzi kazembe. Those are the other 2 reckless individuals.
It's an old Ningirikini. No, it's an old paper. It's an old headline. It's an old headline. It's an old headline.
Yeah, the next 48 hours is going to be very interesting. Anyway, you can continue, Uncle. I don't know what's coming.
Angasarata ndiani?
Inandisati.
Okay, taura itinzwe.
Yeah, thanks, Ango. I think a lot to unpack, but as usual, I'm always brief. I wanted to question what Magneto was saying. Because Magneto was saying Chiwenga can give an order. Chiwenga cannot give an order unless we are saying the VP, unless he needs capacity, maybe as VP, if he features in the chain of command. Yes, he carries.
But I'm soldier.
Not, and now I'm soldier.
Iyo munhu angatara naye kamusojo.
Yeah, but a person can be a doctor and talk nonsense.
Come on.
Zambesi.
Uranyaya. Iwe uri kuudzwa nemunhu anga arimo musystem kuti this is how it works.
Am I still audible?
Yeah, you are still audible, but iwe ndo ndati iwe uri kuudzwa zvinhu nemunhu anga ari musystem.
Okay, yeah, audible, but
ari kukuudza kuti izvo renki it's for life. Iwe wati izvo it's honorary. Kutanga, but waudzwa ndizvo this rank it's for life.
Let's test this thing. Let's test this thing. If he says anyone retired can come and give orders, it means how many people can walk into a base and give orders? That will be chaos. How many people would retire from the army? If all
Angojedi ndikambompindura were. Does he know kuti Solomon Mujuru aipinda mupolitibhuru ane pfuta achinogara angori iye munhu waanaikwanisa kukweshena Bob politibhuru meeting yese kusvika yapera kana zvinavashi. Those 2 they did that. If you ask those in ZANU-PF they will tell you zvinavashe aienda onotaura zvaanoda kusvika mukufa. The same Mujuru did that. Why did Mugabe aibenda even pakusvika pakuisa Mai Mujuru kuisa pa deputy president aita fold?
But we must know this thing. People like Chiwenga and who are coming from the army can remain with influence in the army because of their connection. But on paper, these people are no longer in command of the army because it would be chaos. If if we say everyone retired can walk in and give a command, then we have chaos in the army, and the army is not for chaos.
I think you took it literally. Kuti zvanokwanisa kungofamba achitopinda achinodai. Pane macircumstances ekuti uyo ari kutaura kuti izvoni paita a miscalculation apa. Because when push comes to shove, zvinhu zvacho zvikasveyama matsveyamira azviri kuita, Chiwenga can literally walk into the army and be saluted and give an order.
Saluted is because of it's an honor thing.
That I was what Maginito was saying, and it kuti maendero ari kuita zvinhu izvi akompea kuti izvoni mukatora Tagwirei apa mukatora Chiwenga apa. Tagwirei nemari yake anogona kushaya komanda respect kubva kuma-army air personnel. Chiwenga achikomanda respect because of his rank yaanga ainayo. Emerson Mnangagwa anogona kana kutadza kuita command respect pa akaitwa ousted because haana rank yanga iri muarmy. Saka uyu ari kutaurira in the context yezviri kuitika, not kuti izvo it's an everyday thing kuti izvo Chiwenga anongopinda makarati a retired can actually walk in there and say no. Ari kutaura ukomaradaship huripo pavanhu ava kuti vanogona kumira vari vega kana zvinhu zvikaminya chaizvo chaizvo vanomira together. I think that was the point yanga ari kuedza kuita emphasize given the circumstances dzacho dziri kuitika zvinhu zvacho ndenge zviri kuitika. Do you know kuti these guys they can actually be called out of retirement? Kuti we are now calling you back. Dzokai vakomana muri maretired kudaro, we are now calling you back. It simply means kuti izvo that retirement iyoyo can be temporary, munhu anogona kudzoserwa back. Achinoti kana assume nenge rengi yake chaichai aitobaya nenge nechinhu. So that is what exactly what he's talking about. Not the literal sense yaukuzvitora iwo kuti izvo anogona kana ngoti kana it is an everyday thing. No. Zvakafanana kuti izvo kana uri muCIO chaichai nenge muZimbabwe. You don't retire, you don't retire nenge kwekwe. Because sometimes mama positions aunenge uinawo anoita kuti uziye zvakawandisa. Saka they will always be keeping an eye on you. Not kuti izvo munhu anongofamba anongotiwo nje because no. Ari kutaurira nedynamics dziripo idzi, magymnastics ari kurohwa aya. Kuti izvo avana vanogona kufunga kuti izvo they are doing what they are doing. Uyu anogona kana kuenda kuboys rake ningiri kuarmy. Wobva wamudaiwa iwewe our commander haungajairirwe. We salute you. Haungajairirwe iwewe ndiwo wanga uri commander wedu iwewe. Saka we are saluting you. Ava zvakutaura ndezvavo. Kana vachitoda ngaichitotsva. That is the line of thinking, that was ndo yanga itaurwa ndina Maginito.
Yeah, the angle I'm totally with you. So this guy, he has got connections. He can retain influence by way of his relationships with those in command of the army. But Magneto was stating it as fact that Chiwenga can issue an order, and that is misleading. But this thing of him having influence, it agreed. Like that's what I wanted to say to the tender, that Muchuru could do these things. Why? Because he was linked up with the army. He had influence. That's the indirect influence, where people have got influence on the people who can actually issue commands. But Chiwenga constitutionally cannot give an order. Can the army do this? And if they say no, then he can take an action. He can, but influence totally 100%. He may have the influence because of his background and his relationships with the guys who are now running the army. But that is a given. We cannot contest that. But Magneto was boasting here like Chiwenga can issue an order to KG6 and it is to be followed, otherwise it's prison.
Ankondokumbira kupindurawo.
Apindira ane kupindura zvese zvinongoita vanhu.
Okay. Kune pamusoro everyone afternoon. Pane, the former speaker kuti Chiwenga can't do. Unfortunately, Mulife Martino Rarama, they are people that earn their positions. And once you earn that position, you go with it to the grave. Jagafanana Nekunzi, Army General. Chiwenga is an Army General to his grave. No matter how bad say they can't say he's no more a general. He shall be respected as the Army General that he is. Because he earned it. He was not awarded. So what happens is, even if he's not on the duty, he is still the general, as the first-hand command. But if those people are first-hand, they are junior to him, he still goes to them and gives them a command to say, for the good of the country. Remember, the soldiers are civil servants.
Let's hold there. We don't want I didn't take come.
Mira ndikupedzese, mira indipedzese.
Through his relationships now.
No, we are not talking about.
Koningi Zambesia. Wadi kumbomira munhu ataure. Then kana uine anything to push back or to push back. You gather manotsi ako iwewe.
Yes. So the thing is, my soldiers are civil servants. When they sign their line of duty, where they say, I am prepared to die for my country, they are not saying I shall support ZANU-PF or any other party that is coming. Isusu sema Zimbabweans, takavata, we are accustomed to this culture yekufunga kuti my soldiers are supposed to be a certain party, kana kuti faction, kana kuti whatsoever, which they are doing, which is wrong. But their line of duty, kana pashika kuti isusu as soldiers, we are there to protect the country and the people. When he goes in the interest of the people, his other people who are generals, they listen. Because their duty also is to protect the country. Zvekuti vanoenda vachizivana ndizvo zvekubhadharana. But kana vakunyasoenda as soldiers to the oath that they made to protect the Zimbabwean people, Chiwenga can make a command and everyone listens. Zvakafanana, an example I want to give you. If you are a doctor and you pay your tickets, you're traveling from UK, Urkwinda Gumzarabani. If anything happens, move flight, you are not off duty. Chero wabva wakati ndiri leave, you work as a doctor. You can't say there's an emergency and then you are waiting to be assigned. If Russia calls for people right now, kuti I put in my commander, my generals to come and help me with the war. Chiwenga will be called, kuti Chiwenga, you can't sit as a VP. We need a general to come and do the command. He goes immediately without even saying bye-bye to his family. That is the line of duty. Saka Chiwenga pa ari pese, he's a general. He might not be on the desk, but he is a general. That's what we Zimbabweans need to understand, which also Mnangagwa understands. Isusu as the general public, we take it so lightly and say, it is more powerful. The reason, like the other caller said, Kuti, he's been clever about it. Kuti, he's been eliminating the most powerful people. And those powerful people are the generals. Because he knows, Kuti, these people are loyal to the citizens, not to me. This is why zvimwe zvese zvinyaya zvatinonzwa kuti attempt to murder was murdered is because he's trying to remove all these powerful people. Datenda hangu, once a general, you're always a general.
Right.
Once a doctor, you're always a doctor online. I remember tichishanda kumabhaira, even an engineer, uka-appointwa uchinzi engineer ningi ari kushanda kublast number 4, ukaita mhosva ukadhimotwa, salary yako haichinji saengineer, unoramba uchihora saengineer, wave vachikutongesa nyaya. because you have earned the title kuti wave in that position. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you very much. Do appreciate. Right, pane zvawachada kupindura here naye Zambesi?
Yeah, totally, because we are mixing concepts. I'm in a chain of command. And chain of command in army, linear. Haina ma-divisions. Aya ma-titles arikutaurwa kunzi general. But in a chain of command, kuti ndikandaudzwa ndoripota kumunhu uyo, I won't listen to anyone chero akauya netitle yabva kupi. Ndinoripota kune munhu one, ndiye wandoteerera command iyi. On that one, the sister is talking about yatinogona kuti goodwill. These people have goodwill with each other. Chiwenga is from the army. He may have goodwill in the army, and he can then canvas power from that. Say, guys, I'm one of you. Let's do this thing, right? But he doesn't have the power to order the army to do anything. We are taking of the vested powers here, which are there on paper. The people in the army right now do not have Chiwenga in their line of command. And if Chiwenga was to write an order, they will throw it away unless they deviate from their current chain of command. This is what I'm saying, and we don't need to mislead people here, because people end up thinking that Chiwenga can give orders to the army, which is interesting. But under influence, that is understood. Munane influence. So we don't know. He may actually have the power to talk to these army guys and say, guys, let's throw away ED. That's possible, but he is using his influence. Just like you, Ango, you can influence the Titus and so forth to act in a certain manner because of your relationship. But Muna command, I can give Titus this command and he has got to follow it. So
Ango Jet.
What I think.
Ungapedzi tazvinzwa akudzokera chinhu wani.
Joseph.
Mati yangu Jet.
Ambotaura here nebhuru.
Yeah, ndambotaura ndabvumirana nezvekutaura anonzi Zim kuti yes, the